Shalom. Shalom, shalom. Hit the like button when y'all come in here so Israel can see the video. Shalom, shalom. Y'all hit the like button when y'all come in so Israel can see the video. We're gonna start in a minute. Alright, cool. Shalom. Let me send out these notifications and we will begin. Hit the like button when you come in the building, Baba Kasha, so Israel can see. Gotta make sure YouTube send out the notifications. Yeah. Okay. Shalom, y'all. Shalom. Hit the like button when you come in the building. Hit the like button when you come in the building. Cool. Hit the like button when you come in the building. Shalom, shalom. Just waiting on Brother James to get up in here so we can begin. Today, as y'all can see, we're going to be talking about Ruth. And we got proof that the Northern Kingdom went through the slave trade. So we're going to bring that out today. I'm going to start bringing more and more stuff out, basically about how, the Northern Kingdom is Israel, before we get into the 12 tribes chart conversation that we're going to have. And of course, we're talking about Ruth today because these are two conversations we have to have to lead us up to the Negro only type of conversation before we get into the 12 tribes chart. So that's the reason I'm doing the sequence like this, because I'm trying to basically show y'all the way that these stupid doctrines are in Israel and why they're lined up the way they are, and that if certain things you do, certain presentations that are made to make sure that they don't make sense, it's nothing that they're gonna be able to do to ever bring these doctrines back again. So we're gonna thoroughly dismantle these stupid doctrines as soon as my readers get up in here. Brother Judah couldn't make it today. He had something else to do, so waiting on somebody to get up in here. Hold on, give me a second, y'all. Give me just a second. Ooh, there he is. There he is.
Hey, Shalom, Shalom.
Shalom, shalom.
How about you? Shalom, Marwan.
How about you? How about Barakatah? Unless you get settled in and everything. But as I said, we're gonna be talking about Ruth today. We're gonna start with that, right? Why? Because we have to have this conversation. The Negro only brothers, right? They have this false notion, this wrong understanding that Ruth is an Israelite from the tribe of Reuben, and they have to think this because they think that you can't. Uh, it seems like they don't believe in numbers 1 and 18. Like they don't think that you have to. Yeah, Khan, who's saying something about martial law? Yeah, it's not here yet. Not even close. When martial law is here, you're gonna know about it. These tanks and everything that you see coming around, it's just a fear tactic. They haven't started martial law yet. That's not what this is. This is a game that they play. I promise you. Martial law has not begun yet. But as I was saying, Ruth, we got to talk about Ruth because people think that Ruth is an Israelite mainly because the people that had to come up with that doctrine feel that um, Israelites can't get with foreign women, so to speak, which means that they don't fully believe that you are what your father is. They don't fully believe that the seed line goes through the male because they're thinking that if a man gets with a woman that's not Israel, then that child automatically is not Israel too. So the problem with Ruth, for those of y'all that don't know, Ruth is the grandmother of David, correct?
Great grandmother.
Oh, great grandmother. Okay, so she's one of David's grandmothers, and she's from the tribe of Moab, right? Which is consequently why David had goat hair, because he inherited that from his great grandmother. So they try to use this uh, fact to say that well, actually she was a Reubenite because she can't be from the tribe, well, the house of Moab, because Moab is supposed to be foreign, and how could the Most High make Yahweh's bloodline come from a foreign woman? So we're gonna get into it because you got to understand. One, Ruth was she was a slave, so any child that she had wouldn't have actually been her child. And we're going to get into that because there's proof of that throughout the Bible. Same thing happened to create the 12 tribes that we know of today through the man that we know as Yaakov or Jacob, right? He did the same thing. He had two main wives and they had two handmaids, right? In which he had children with, but the handmaids, well, the children weren't considered the children of the handmaids. You understand what I'm saying? That's actually a Christian misnomer that they have going on. When you look at the 12 tribes, parental chart, and it tells you that the two handmaids had the children. It's them that had the children, but the children weren't considered theirs, if that makes sense. We're going to get into it, though. And also, of course, Northern Kingdom. I want to go ahead and bring this out. It was a presentation that a brother did by the name of Jacob, who has a channel called Genesis 49ers. I'll show y'all the video so y'all can go look it up. I'm not going to play the video. I want you guys to go look it on your own, but I have a couple of the slides that he used from his video to prove the point. Because, why go through Esau's history when we got brothers that's doing the work themselves, right? So let's make their work famous and stuff. So Without further ado, Ak, if you don't mind, give me Ruth chapter 4, verse 10. We're going to get into Ruth first.
Uh,
And Judah going to pop up in here whenever he get home and stuff. He's going to pop in, so you ain't got to do all the reading because it's going to be a lot. So yeah, Ruth chapter 4, verse 10. Go ahead.
this is the book of Ruth, chapter 4 and verse 10. Moreover, Ruth, the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon.
So Ruth, the Moabitess, right? The wife of Milan. So he's telling you straight up she's a Moabitess. So now at this point you're reaching if you say, she's just a Moabitess, meaning she lived in the land of Moab. That's all it is, right? She just lived there. Yeah, see? Go ahead, keep reading.
Have I purchased to be my wife?
Has he what?
Have I purchased to be my wife?
So you can purchase an Israelite woman now,
La.
huh? I thought we were supposed to marry the sisters, right?
Mhm.
They daughters of Zion, precious daughters of Sarah, right? Why are we purchasing daughters of Sarah and daughters of Zion? Right? You're supposed to purchase heathen women. Hold that right quick. I can give me Leviticus 25 and 44. Let's prove it, right? This is in the law. Israelite women don't get bought. This is the first cut. Why did I open it up with a cut? Because this is in the book of Ruth. Why are brothers reading this, seeing that she's been bought and still thinking that she's an Israelite? Main reason is because they can't see how a heathen woman could have a book named after her in the Bible. But we're going to get into that too because it's a very distinct reason why she has a book named after her in the Bible. Something that she did, right? A way that she acted, which got her that praise. So, because as you see, brothers like foreign women, right? That's the thing even the rappers are saying these days, right? They love them foreign. It's been a problem that Israelite men have had since the beginning, right? Most High has made that clear. But Leviticus 25:44, we're gonna get into it.
This is the book of Leviticus, chapter 25 and verse 44.
Mm-hmm.
Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaids, which thou have, shall be of the heathen.
Right. So all your bondmaids and bondmen shall be of the heathen, right? So you shouldn't have any servants of your own people. That's what it says. That's the reason why in the kingdom we're going to have these servants again when we're back in our rulership, right? It's only fair, it's only fitting that they're going to be of the heathen. Go ahead.
Shall be of the heathen that are round about you.
So round about us, right? I.e. the Moabites who were in the area of the Reubenites after they conquered the land, right? But they also had a country that was close to us, the country of Moab, right? Go ahead, up.
Of them shall you buy bondmen and bondmaids.
So of them shall you what?
Ye buy.
Okay, so if you were to buy a concubine, right? And you're doing whatever you want to do with the concubine, she's still a concubine. She's not your wife because what? You bought her, correct? So Ruth was bought, as it said in Ruth chapter 4, verse 10, by her husband, right? He has bought him a wife. So what he was trying to say was basically he bought him a concubine, right? He bought him a woman from the other nations that he was going to go on to. You understand what I'm saying? This is what he bought her for. So give me Ruth chapter 4, verse 16. Let's get another cut, right? Actually, before you do that, give me Ruth 1 and 1.
This is the book of Ruth, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days when the judges ruled,
right,
that there was a famine in the land. And a certain man of Bethlehem, Judah, went to sojourn in the country of Moab.
Right. So first thing you got to understand, right? He went to sojourn in the country of Moab. That's the first thing. So you brothers and sisters that think that Ruth is a Reubenite, right? You say that, oh, she's just from the isles that Reuben took over. You know what I'm saying? That were around Moab. No, this is the actual country of Moab that this woman is from. Hence the reason why they called her a Moabitess, because they were in the country of Moab, right? Skip to verse 4 from y'all.
Verse 4. And they took them wives of the women of Moab.
Oh, also in verse 1, you saw that it was a book of the judges, right? You see that this was from the time of the judges. So this is something else that you have to understand when it comes to Ruth, right? This is the reason why Ruth has a book. We're going to get more into that a little bit later in a second, but I wanted him to bring that out right here verse 4. Read that again.
Wives of the women of Moab. The
You
name
froze a
of the
little bit.
one. So like you
You
said
froze a
again,
little bit.
I'm good.
Yeah, you straight now. Start over again. Yeah, you good now. You good. You good.
Kind of. Ruth chapter 1 and verse 4. And they took them wives of the women of Moab. The name of the one was Opha, and the
Okay, so
name of the other was Ruth.
they took them wives of the women of Moab, right? Who they bought. That's how they took these wives. They bought them. Explain that more once you get to chapter 4, right? Y'all hit the like button when you come up in here, please. Baba Kasha, so Israel can see. We're not going to get no notifications sent out if y'all don't hit the like button. So hit that like button for us, please, Baba Kasha, so Israel can see the video.
That's right.
So, as you see, Ruth was bought, right? Now, let's go back to chapter 4, because I just wanted to bring that out right quick to prove that they were in the land of Moab, the country of Moab. This wasn't just a place in our land where Moabites were living. They're in Moab here. Hence is why she's called the Moabitess, right? Slaki. So, give me Ruth 4 and 16.
This is the book of Ruth, chapter 4, verse 16. And Naomi took the children and laid it in her bosom, and became nurse unto it.
Right.
And the woman, her neighbor, gave it a name, saying, there is a son born to Naomi.
Oh, wait. So Ruth had the child, but why was the son born to Naomi?
They got to deal with that.
Huh? This is a question that we got to ask, right? Hit the like button, people, so people can see this. We ain't got enough likes. Y'all wildin'. You got to click out the chat and hit the like button. Got 50 people in here. We should have at least 49 likes. The water Rick Sharp for the prospect Rick for the donation. But this is what it is, right? So how is this child not hers if she's an Israelite? If an Israelite man has a child with an Israelite woman, then the child is automatically both of theirs, right? But guess what? If an Israelite man has a baby with a concubine or a heathen woman, right? A woman that he bought, and he's married to another woman, and there's another woman that's considered his wife, guess who the children belong to? The wife, right? The wife of his bosom. You understand what I'm saying? Because this is what you got to understand, right? Esau's created something called surrogate mothers, right? And the way that they have surrogate mothers through the time of, or through the ways of their technology now is they got technologies that allow you to be able to take eggs and move them around and put, you know what I'm saying, freeze them and freeze sperm and all this other stuff, right? So you can just basically take your sperm and put it in whatever woman you want without having to have sex with her. Have her have your kids and then make the kids think that they belong to somebody else. Kind of like Michael Jackson did, right? That's how Michael Jackson had his children. You feel me? So the way that the Most High used to do it, though, because we didn't have this type of technology back then, he would allow Israelite men to get with a foreign woman, buy her, right? Say you have a woman who whose womb is closed by the Most High, right? She's barren. She's not allowed to have children at the moment. What you would do is you would get a foreign woman, right? A concubine, whatever race you want. You know what I'm saying? She's not supposed to be of your people, so she has to be a heathen. You buy her, right? And then you have your children come into her. Well, you come into her and have your children, you know, with her, but the children aren't hers. They belong to your wife. Proof of this in Genesis chapter 30, starting verse 1. We're going to show you. Because anybody that believes that you're an Israelite, you came into the world this way. The exact way that I just mentioned. We had a woman who was a mother of ours who wasn't able to have children. We're going to read about it. Go ahead, Ak.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 30 and verse 1. And when Rachel saw that she was barren, when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, give me children, or else I die.
You see that? So he's saying, she's saying, give me kids unless I die. You know what I'm saying? And Jacob's probably looking at her like, yo, how am I supposed to give you kids, yo? You know what I'm saying? The Most High got you shut up. I can't do that. You know what I'm saying? He's having to mess with a whole nother woman. Your sister. Go ahead.
And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel.
Exactly. See, now Jacob pissed off. He's like, bruh, I can't help you with that. What I'm supposed to do with that? You need to go pray to the Most High or something. So look what happens. Go ahead.
And he said, am I in God's stead?
So he's like, am I the Most High? How am I supposed to? Why are you telling me that you want to have kids? I can't do that. I didn't make you not able to do that. The Most High did. Go ahead.
Who has withheld from thee the fruit of the womb?
See? Go ahead.
And she said, behold, my maid Bilhah, go into her.
So she's saying, oh, well, you know what? Well, why don't you go into my maid then? Right? Most brothers nowadays be like, what? What? You know what I'm saying? But this was a normal thing. She's like, all right, I can't have kids. You know what? You're going to give me one. Go into my maid. Go ahead. Keep reading. Let's see what happens.
And she shall bear upon my knees, that I
She's
may
gonna do what?
So like, and she shall bear upon my knees.
So bear upon her knees, right? Meaning she's going to have a kid, but it's not going to be hers. It's going to be mine. Right? Since I can't squat down and have the kid fall between my legs, she's going to do it. Go ahead.
That's right. That I may also have children by her.
Ooh, that I may have children by her. So she's telling you straight up, this woman is going to be my surrogate woman. She's going to be my surrogate mother. Right? Wasn't no frozen eggs and frozen sperm back then. It was you buy this woman, you have sex with her, have a kid with her, and the kid's mom. Shalom, Mark.
Shalom.
Or Agua. I can't tell who that is. One love. Con. So go ahead, Deut.
Verse 4. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife. And Jacob went in unto her. And Bilhah conceived and bare Jacob a son.
Okay, so she conceived and bare Jacob a son, right? But as you see, this son is not hers, right? It's Rachel's. Go ahead.
And Rachel said, God hath judged me, and has also heard my voice.
So Rachel didn't have the kid, but she's still saying, wow, God has judged me and heard my voice. Go ahead, Ak.
And hath given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan.
So this is how Dan was born, right? Dan was born through the confines of another woman, and that woman still didn't get to call Dan her son. It was Rachel's son, right? So if you want to be technical, the Israelites still only have two mothers, right? It's just two handmaids got to help in the process. We got two surrogates. You understand what I'm saying? This is how it is. Go ahead. Read the verse 8.
Verse 7. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son.
Oh, so it happened not once but twice with Bilhah. Go ahead.
And Rachel said, with great wrestling have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali.
She's wrestling with her sister because the sister's able to have children. She's jealous that the sister's able to have children. But now, I done found a way that I can have kids, right? Now we wrestling, tussling, right? Who's going to have the kids for the man? You know what I'm saying? And this is what it is. That's how glorious it was for women to have kids for an Israelite man back then. She's wrestling with her sister to see who's going to have more kids for the man. And to make herself have kids because she's barren, she's willing to let her handmaid do the job for her.
Hey, I don't know if it's no sisters like that no more. I don't want.
Hey, bro. Hey.
They don't exist.
That's a virtuous woman, all right? That's, you know what I'm saying? Who can find her? That's what it is. But she had that much virtue, right? So people got to understand that when it comes to Ruth. It tells you straight up and down, that the children belong to Naomi. They didn't have nothing to do with Ruth. Ruth didn't have no claim to the child. You understand what I'm saying? So, let me see. So why is this book in the Bible, right? We're going to get into that because I think that's enough cuts for that. That should just be, y'all have to be able to prove to me why she was bought and when do we buy Israelite women, right? One. And y'all have to prove why the children that she had or the child that she had wasn't considered her child if she's a Reubenite.
True.
I don't see no account in the Bible where Reubenites are able to have children or women have kids, but the kids don't belong to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that with none of the 12 tribes. I only see that with heathen in more than one account. You have something to say, out?
No, I'm saying you got to deal with that.
See, and I don't think they can. So we gonna move on. So now, why is the book in the Bible? Why does the Most High give a heathen a book, a whole book, right? If she's a heathen and she's not a Reubenite, this is the answer. Give me Nehemiah chapter 13. Well, we have to understand. Actually, before we get Nehemiah, let's start with Deuteronomy 7. Let's get how it started. Deuteronomy 7 and verse 1.
Okay. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 1.
Go ahead.
When the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land whither thou goest to possess it, and has cast out many nations before thee, the Hittites and the Girgashites,
right,
and the Amorites,
right,
and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
So we're supposed to kick out all these nations, and look what the Most High says about that. Go ahead, keep reading.
And when the Lord thy God shall deliver thee, and when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
Come. So we're not gonna make no covenant, nor show any mercy unto them, right? So this is what you got to understand. Keep reading on that. This is the part right here.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Oh, neither shall we what?
Make marriages with them.
So we weren't supposed to make marriages with these heathen women, right? Right? We weren't supposed to make marriages with these heathen women, but we did it anyway. Even Moses himself had an Ethiopian woman. Go ahead, Ak.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son. What else?
Nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Why?
For they will turn away thy son from following me.
Right. So look, there was a problem we was having in Israel, right? We would get with the foreign women. It wasn't just because the Most High didn't want us using these foreign women, because how did we become Israel, right? Through 2 foreign women. You feel what I'm saying? We didn't get all 12 tribes from Rachel and Leah, right? It was Zilha and Bilhah too. So we had to go through that. So here's what you got to understand, right? When we got with these foreign women from these other nations, especially the ones that we were supposed to turn away from and not have any relations with, make no covenants or marriages with, right? They will be teaching us their languages. They'll be teaching us their gods, all this type of stuff, right? Teaching us their cultures, and all while we're forgetting the one that the Most High gave us. We're not following that to keep up with them. This is the things that happened with Moses. I mean, that happened with Solomon, Salaki, right? So check it out. The reason why Ruth was put in the book is because she was a righteous example of the type of heathen to get with, since Jake just couldn't stop doing it. And we're going to prove it. Give me Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 23. Because the book of Ruth comes right after the book of Judges. It tells you in the first chapter, first verse, that it was during the time of Judges. This book is supposed to be included in the book of Judges. But it's not. It's exiled, or it's excluded and put on its own for a reason. Because part of the reason why we had some of these judges was to judge Israel for getting with these foreign women and the things that was happening to us while we was getting with these foreign women, right? Nehemiah was one of these people. Read what Nehemiah said. Nehemiah 13, 23.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 13 and verse 23. In those days also saw Jews that had married wives of Ashdod, of Ammon, and of Moab. Oh,
wow. So we didn't marry Edomite Jewish women, Amalek kids, right? Ashdod, the bastards dwelling in Ashdod, right? We didn't marry the Kim Jong-un Japanese looking people, right? of incest, and we got they twin brother, twin sister, Moab, right? So that's what we have here. Okay, so we're marrying these people that the Most High strictly told us not to mess with in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 7. Nehemiah is not having a problem with it, right? He's saying this is something that's going rampant. It's all over the place, right? So don't just tell me for you Negro only niggas that, oh, it was the Northern Kingdom that's been mixing. We ain't supposed to mess with them no more. It's Negro only. Y'all was doing it too. With the white woman from Moab that's living in Israel right now, calling herself Jewish, the Asian woman named Ling Ling, and the Japanese woman named Ping Ping. That's who y'all was getting with. Hey. So don't tell me that. That's the reason why some of y'all had the features y'all have now. Some of y'all look like Tiger Woods and don't know none of the Asian people that you got in your family. It's because y'all was mixing back then and you still got them same traits. You still got that same look. So go ahead, read on that. Continue on that.
Verse 24. And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod and could not speak in the Jews' language.
Dang, so these people, that's them turning away from the Most High. The Most High gives us a holy tongue, Allah Shawan Kadash, right? In Hebrew that we're supposed to be speaking. But these people are getting with these sworn women, and now their kids don't even know how to speak Hebrew. They're speaking half of their language and don't even have none of ours. They're speaking half Moabite and half something else. Half Moabite, half Ammonite, and their daddy's a Hebrew, their mama's a Moabite. They don't know where the Ammonite coming from. Mm-hmm. They speaking half Moabite, half of Amalek's language, whatever that was, right? And their dad's an Israelite. They can't even communicate with their pops when he's not at the house because, he got to speak another language. That means that the pops has to learn another language. Or if it's a woman that got with the people, she has to learn another language to be able to communicate with her husband and her children. So at the house, nobody's speaking in Hebrew, right? That's why he singled that out, the languages that they're speaking. Go ahead, Out, continue.
But according to the language of each people.
Right, come on.
And I contended with them and cursed them and smote certain of them.
So he's saying y'all can't even speak no dang English. How y'all gonna keep the Most High's laws? You can't even say none of his prayers. Y'all can't say the Lord's Prayer to him. Your children don't know how to say the Shema. How are we going to conduct the feast days that we're supposed to conduct if we can't even say our prayers because y'all ain't teaching your kids the languages? Keep going out.
And plucked off their hair. Mm-hmm. And made them swear by God, saying.
So Nehemiah is the hard one, right? He the dude that say, I will lay hands on you niggas, bro. This is Nehemiah, right? He's pissed off that they're getting with foreign women. This is his spirit. So he's cussing everybody out, going crazy, right? Fiery Gad style. Go ahead.
Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons.
Right. So he's replying to them, right? With the same thing that Moses told us. Y'all ain't supposed to be doing this. This is why. And he's going to say that. Go ahead.
Or for yourselves. Did not Solomon, king of Israel, sin by these things?
He's saying, didn't Solomon go down for this? Wasn't this his downfall? Y'all didn't learn from the most wise man that we ever had here? Are you serious? The man spewing all this wisdom in his younger years, and as soon as he gets old, he's going every which way mentally because of the women he got and the way that they got him strung out. Y'all didn't learn from this? This is what Nehemiah is telling to the people. What verse you at? Right?
26.
Yeah, read the verse 27.
Yet among many nations was there no king like him.
Right. Among many nations was there no king like him. So this man, there was no king ever like him on the planet, not even his dad, because he's talking about Solomon, who's after King David, right? So he's saying King David wasn't even like Solomon. And this man still fell off just because of women. Foreign women at that. Heathen women. Concubines, right? How many concubines he had?
I think like 300? Oh no, 300, something like that. 300.
It was like 700 wives and 300 concubines or something like that, right?
It's 1 Kings 11. 1 Kings 11 and 3, real quick. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines.
See that? 700 wives and 300 concubines, yo. Turned him all the way out.
It's crazy. It's 1,000.
That's when we start calling himself Shalaman to Solomon. right? They even changed his name for him. Like the whole thing went left, man. So this is what we have to understand. Nehemiah was actually getting on people for doing this. So why not when we got one that they got with that was righteous? Oh, and she's gonna be the one of the foremothers to David, Solomon, and who the soon to come Mashiach Yahushua. Oh, we better put her in a book then and let them see if y'all gonna get with a foreign woman because we know it's gonna happen. Moses told y'all not to do it, you did it. Ezra told you not to do it, you did it. Nehemiah told you not to do it, you did it. In fact, let's get Ezra's account. Give me Ezra 9 and 1. Because Ezra said it too. Ezra said it too, and they still didn't listen. So he's like, if y'all not gonna listen to nothing that I'm saying, we're gonna have to put this woman in the book because Ruth is gonna say certain things that Solomon's wives didn't say to Solomon. You know what I'm saying? And we're gonna prove it. Ezra chapter 9, verse 1.
This is the book of Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. Now, when these things were done, the princes came to me, saying, the people of Israel and the priests and the Levites have not separated themselves from the people of the land.
Yeah, see, so Ezra's even having a problem with it, right? Ezra and Nehemiah worked hand in hand. For those of you that don't know, they was basically like together in their prophecy, right? In their prophetship. So they're seeing the same things. They're witnessing the same type of things happening, right? And they getting on them the same way. Look at what Ezra says. Go ahead.
Doing according to the abominations, even of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Ammonites, and the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Amorites.
So he's telling you all the women that we got with that we wouldn't like stop messing with. That's damn near all the other women on the planet. We was messing with everybody. After the Most High told us to be a holy nation unto himself, not to make any marriages or covenants with it. So now you see Israel's gonna go off. Let's get him a righteous example. Who was his righteous example? It was Ruth. That's why she got the book. She was an example for a woman for us to get with if we have to get a concubine. If you got to get a woman because your wife is barren, she better act like this woman. She better not turn you from the Most High. If you got a woman who doesn't believe and she's not really eager to bear with you, right? Then get you another woman and she better act like this if she's a heathen, right? This is what they were trying to say. This is the stuff they were trying to rule out. If you lost your heritage and you with a heathen woman, right? And you trying to decide once you come into your heritage again whether to stay with her, she better act like Ruth. If not, get you another woman and she better be an Israelite because we're not supposed to make no heathen covenants anyway or marriages with them. That's what Ruth is here for. She's the righteous example. Let's prove it. Give me Ruth chapter 1 verse 1 again. Actually, we don't need that because I was just going to tell you that this she's part of the book of the Judges, right? So let's go back to Ruth chapter 1. Give me verse 6.
I got a precept for you too on that same point.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is First Esdras chapter 8 and verse 69. I'm gonna start at 68. Now, when these things were done, the rulers came unto me and said, the nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and the Levites have not put away from them the strange people of the land, nor the pollution of the Gentiles.
You see that?
The Gentiles too.
You see that?
And it's going to explain who the Gentiles are.
Go ahead.
To wit, the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Jebusites, the Moabites, the Egyptians, and the Edomites.
Come, me too. I'll come with you. But you see that? And the Edomites. So he's telling you ethnic heathen here, ethnic Gentiles. The women ethnically that we weren't supposed to mess with. And that's a cut for you niggas that say, oh, well, we could get with Esau. No. Esau's not on the list for Deuteronomy 7 and 1 and 2. I didn't see Edom on there. All right. Well, in the scripture the brother just brought out where it talks about the pollution of the heathen and the Gentiles, right? Edom's the last nation that they named. Right? They saved the best for last, the most polluted of them all. So that's that. But Let's move on, right? Let's prove that Ruth was the righteous example. Ruth chapter 1, verse 6.
It's the book of Ruth, chapter 1 and verse 6. Then she arose with her daughter-in-law,
Hmm.
that she might return from the country of Moab.
Right?
For she had heard in the country of Moab how that the Lord had visited his people in giving them bread.
So Ruth hears that the Lord visited his people and gave them bread, right? Jump to verse 8 for me.
Verse
That's
8.
another cut. Because why is Ruth calling the Most High's people not her own if she's from the tribe of Reuben, ladies and gentlemen? Akwat and Akyam. Come on, guys. Go ahead.
Verse 8. And Naomi said unto her two daughters-in-law, Go return each to her mother's house.
Mm.
The Lord dealt kindly with you.
So each to your mother's house. That's letting you know that her mother wasn't a neighbor of Naomi's, right? Because she would have said something about my neighbors. Go ahead. As they
As ye
said
have,
earlier, when they talked about the, or later on in the book, when they talk about the naming of the child, right? It was Naomi's neighbors that said, "Oh, surely the Most High is giving you a son," right? Why isn't she talking about the neighbors in the same context with Ruth and them? Because it's not their neighbors. They're not the same people. The daughters-in-law are neighbors to each other, and that's it. They both from the country of Moab. Go ahead, Ak.
as ye have dealt with the dead and with me,
Mm-hmm.
the Lord grant you that ye may find rest, each of you in the house of her husband.
Right?
Then she kissed them, and they lifted up their voice and wept. And they said unto her, Surely we will return with thee unto thy people.
Oh my goodness. Surely we will return to thee unto thy people, right? This is showing you two things, right? First thing it's showing you is, again, they said thy people, proving to you that Ruth is not an Israelite. Her people aren't Naomi's people, right? Is there more on that before I continue?
That's it on
All right,
that.
come. So her God, Naomi's God, isn't Ruth's God. Naomi's people isn't Ruth's people. That's the first thing it's showing you. The second thing it's showing you is the humbleness of this foreign heathen Gentile woman, right? She's humble enough to come back to Naomi's homeland, right? Be amongst her ruling class of people and serve her God. This was why she got her book, because she's humble enough to acknowledge the God of the Bible, not try to turn Naomi to follow the God of Moab, right? Chemosh or whatever his name is. You understand what I'm saying? This is why she got a book, because she was that humble as a surrogate heathen woman, a handmaid that was bought to be somebody's wife.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I got more. Hold on, Yonatan. Let me send you that link. Give me 1 to 16.
Ruth 1 and 16. And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people.
You see that? That's complete humbleness from this woman. That's nothing but humbleness, right? And that's proving to you that she was humble enough to be amongst the Israelite people. That's the same humbleness that the heathen women gonna have to show in the kingdom. They're not gonna be able to be amongst our people in that kind of atmosphere and that type of accord. But you know, they're gonna have to be that humble, regardless of the fact. And this is why she was a righteous example, because she's in her kingdom now, right? We're getting ready to lose things at this point. We just started going off. We already got heathen women, right? The curses are about to fall upon us. So at this point, you know what I'm saying? Her nation is about to be put in their glory. And she's still humble enough to acknowledge us as the ruling class of people and our God as the only God of the planet. Instead of trying to make us follow her own. So that's the reason why she got what she got. You got any precepts out? While I send this
Yeah,
to
you really could keep going on that.
go ahead.
Con. And thy God, my God.
Whew, that's a cut right there.
That's a cut. So if she
She's
was from,
saying, yeah, you see that?
yeah, con, that's a cut, man.
That's ridiculous.
If she was from the tribe of Reuben or any tribe in Israel, why would she say thy God will be my God? That's you. Your God is already Yahweh. Verse 17.
Go
Where
ahead.
thou diest, will I die, and there
Huh.
will I be buried. That's showing
Mm.
Ruth's humbleness, man. That's why she has this book, man.
If that ain't a handmaid, I don't know what is.
Con.
She's saying when you die, I'ma die.
Hey, that's like Jake, man. Back in the
You
day,
know what
hey,
I'm saying?
you sick, master? We need
Right?
to see, master.
Exactly, bruh. If you sick, master, I'm sick. We all sick, master. She's saying when you die, I'ma die, bruh.
Con.
That's a real slave right there. This is Ruth. Which one of you sisters gonna look at another sister and be like, hey sis, when you die, I'ma die? Y'all crazy. If any of y'all say that, you lying right now.
Con.
The reason she was that humble, the reason she even had that thought in her mind was because she knew she was bought. She knew her place when it came to this woman from the jump. So that's it on that, man. That's it on Ruth. If before we continue, does anybody in the chat have any questions on Ruth? Is there any questions before we continue? Because I don't want no mess coming from the chat while I'm bringing this Northern Kingdom stuff out. Okay, from the women came the beginning of sin, and through them all we died. Con. That ain't what we're talking about. Con. Major player. That's right. She was a major player. Why was she a major player? Because she was a humble heathen. And that's something that we don't see every day. Right? Con. All right. So then let's move on. Let's got some stuff to show y'all today. So we're gonna talk about Arzareth a little bit because this is not the right. I deleted the one. We're gonna talk about Arzareth because obviously with this whole Negro only thing going on, there's been a new doctrine created that Arzareth is not America. And with that, they automatically disregard the fact that natives went into slavery. In fact, most of the Negro only people that I've spoken to that watch the Fopers have no they have no knowledge of the Northern Kingdom slave trade actually. So that's why I kind of wanted to bring this out today, just to show y'all some stuff. I'm gonna see if I can share this. Yeah, here we go. Y'all tell me how well y'all can see this. All right, so got some things we're gonna show. This is a map, right? We're gonna go back to it, but if I zoom in, you can see that this obviously is Africa, right? This is Asia, because if you look at a map of 1492, which I'll show you in a little bit, this whole Western hemisphere was never included in the 1492 world map. The world, according to Columbus and other, geographers at the time, was only this region around, Europe, Africa, and Asia. Okay, so this was the world. That's why they make up the myth that he was trying to find Asia and sail a different route. When you go into the movie and the notes, there's notes that was written by Columbus that had to be translated from Latin to English. And there's a guy, I can't remember his name, but it's on a note that I have here too, that actually translated all of that and rewrote the biography of Columbus where he explains the route that he used and everything. When this biography was translated into English, they made a movie about it called 1492 and the Quest for Paradise, I believe. And it's a movie you can find on Netflix, and it's a movie you can find on YouTube for free, right? You watch the movie, and Christopher Columbus is basically explaining to you how they used the book of Ezra or Second Esdras to explain to you how they were going to find the Americas, because they used the same route that was believed to be used by the Northern Kingdom at that time. And mind you, it's 1492. So they have more records. And this is the white man, the one who took control of all the records of the world. He works for the Queen of Spain, who knows the Pope, who has all of the records in the Vatican, right? So this man, by the way, this is 1492. He gets sent on this voyage approximately 2 to 3 days before Rodrigo Borgia, who is Cesare Borgia's dad, you know what I'm saying? The man who would be known as Pope Alexander VI of Rome. He gets shipped out 2 days before this man becomes Pope. It was actually, you know, this was orchestrated by Rodrigo Borgia and the Queen of Spain at the time for Columbus and his 8 Hebrew scholars and their bodyguards and everything like that to go out there and sail this coast and sail to this new world, quote unquote, to look for these 10 tribes and to find gold, right? So that they could begin what they were trying to begin, which was the conquest of a new world. So this is the route that they used. The reason I'm showing you this map, we're going to go back to it later, but I'm proving to you that they went around Africa and came up from South America and worked their way to the islands of Hispaniola, which is where they tell you he docked off first. So they're trying to say that Columbus went like this, basically, went around, came from here, right? Or went like this and came from here. But regardless of the fact, the Europeans made multiple voyages through the Americas from the mid 1400s to the 1800s, transporting slaves of the northern and southern kingdom, and they used this route many times to transport them to further places throughout the land that they wanted to just use water to get to, because it would take less time traveling through water than it would be over the land. So we're gonna prove all of that. Like I was saying to you guys earlier, there's a brother who did all the research for me. I didn't have to do too much. I saw his video last year, and I did all my research within the course of the year and found out everything he said was to be true. So I got some of his slides and that I borrowed, and I'm gonna post his video so you all can go back on your own time and go look at it. His video is about an hour long, so I didn't want to play because I didn't want this class to be that long. But yeah, we're gonna show it. So these are some of his slides basically proving how slavery happened, and he has his sources here as well, so that you guys can go and look up the sources and actually find the information that he found. I did this last year, went to the Black Law Library in Atlanta, and they have a lot of these books in the archive. I was able to go up there, read the books, and find out that all the information he has is true. He has the pages, the chapters, and the book numbers and stuff. So this is real factual information and real actual books that you can find hard copies of, internet copies, PDFs, and you can see for yourself that Judah and Ephraim were in fact oppressed together, right? Judah and Ephraim are in fact in the Americas for the most part, predominantly, with the remnants scattered through the four corners of the earth. And the white man agrees with this wholeheartedly. Before he started hiding the information because of the internet, it was the consensus, major consensus, that the so-called Negroes and the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans were the same people. And we're going to prove it. So we'll start with this. In all Southern Kingdom colonies, can you see that?
Con, I can see it.
You can see it?
Con.
Yeah, you want to read that for me?
Con, I'll read it. So Judah and Ephraim, the first bulletin. In all Southern colonies, Indian slaves worked the field side by side with the Negroes.
Right. So all you brothers and sisters that believe in Negro only, these Indians can't be, they can't be Israelites. They mix with the white man, whatever. They got white moms, whatever you want to say, right? Now we're going to go through the curse of Deuteronomy 28. In fact, do you mind giving me, is it Romans chapter 8:16 that I'm looking for? The Spirit beareth witness.
Con.
Is that Romans 8? Or is that John 8? I be getting mixed.
Romans 8.
Okay. One of them is the truth, and one of them is what it is.
Romans 8 and 16, you was right.
Yeah, all right. Give me that right quick.
It's the book of Romans, chapter 8 and verse 8. The Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit.
You see that? So the Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit, right? So This is what we have to understand. This is what we have to remember, right? In our whole walk through this Israelite thing, it's not a physical thing. It's a spiritual thing. If your brother got the spirit of an Israelite, he feels like he's an Israelite, he wants to follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, who are you to tell the man he's not one? And I hate to break it to you, it's a whole lot of so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, and all these different camps that I see throughout the United States of America, right? I even see some of them in Europe. Y'all are asking, how did Native Americans get to Europe? It's because of the slave trade that we're about to talk about here, right? But we see them through the four corners of the earth doing the work, just like we see Judah doing the work through the four corners of the earth. Mm-hmm. So if the Most High put the spirit on them to do that, and they don't have woolly hair and brown skin, how are you to say that they're not Israelites? If all we have is the spirit to bear witness that we're the children of the Most High. Because I don't got no papers proving I'm an Israelite. Do you got papers proving you won?
Hey, these my papers. So like
you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So if we don't got no papers that say, hey, you're an Israelite, like we should have had in the old times to be able to prove who our fathers is through our father's lineage, all we have is the spirit to tell us, oh, this is where our fathers come from. So who are you to say that these brothers' spirits don't bear witness?
Hey, you're not DMC, the water.
The water DMC for the donation. All right. So, Jonathan is in the building. I didn't even see you, brother. Shalom.
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 The brother got the headset on.
Man got the headset on. Walking around the house. I didn't even see you. Right?
Gotta have that superior sound quality. Y'all know how it goes.
Shalom. All right, let me put this back up so I can see. Where'd it go? Oh, goodness. Okay. Goodness gracious. Sure. All right. Did you read the second bully yet or no?
I was still in the first one.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
All right. So Indian slaves worked the field side by side with the Negroes up to the time of the Revolution in 1776.
So up until 1776, if you was to come to America on a boat as a white man looking to purchase land to find out where you wanted your plantation to be in, which colony you wanted to live in, you would come off the boat and see light-skinned niggas with long hair working alongside with the dark-skinned brothers with the woolly hair, and all of them was being called Negroes. We're going to prove that shortly. Mm. There wasn't a classification between Negroes and Indians until 1880 or 1870, which is 5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. So the entire time that you Negroes was in slavery, thinking that the Indians was only brown-skinned people, the light-skinned Indians that y'all don't want to claim as Indians with the long hair from Assyria, you know what I'm saying? They were still being called Negroes in the same land that you was being captive in, the same land that you was enslaved in, right? Because these are the same people that until 1776 were slaves right next to you on the same damn plantation. Go ahead, continue on that.
Source: Indian slavery in colonies times within the present limits of the United States. Almond Wheeler, laborer, 1880, PN 244.
Right, so page note 244, right? Check this out. Here's my quarrel with you Negro only brothers, right? That claim that the Hispanics and natives can in no way, shape, or form be Israel. Y'all have no sources to prove your point. Not one. Because every historical source on the planet, even the ones that say that the Negroes were Indians or that Indians were Negroes, still says that the Indians that on the plantation that looked like Geronimo was the Negroes they was talking about. They ain't just brothers that look like me. You know what I'm saying? So, but we're going to prove it. We're going to get more into it. It's going to be very, very clear, I promise you. Go ahead and read the next book.
Jeremiah 50 and 33. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
Hey,
that's a fact.
Jonathan, you can read some right now? Give me Jeremiah 50 and 33. Let's read it for the people. Read that one more time, Raquab.
Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together.
That's right.
So, go ahead.
And all that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go.
You see that? Refuse to let them go, yo. I'm gonna show y'all something. I want to show y'all something.
Come
on this junk. Google trying to play games with me. Google's playing games with me.
Hey, Salakia out of one. I don't know if you gonna go into it, but they bring up a lot of information talking about the Cherokees, because down here in Georgia, like I'm from the tribe of Gad, so a lot of us is Cherokee.
I'm definitely gonna bring that up. In fact, I got a slide just on Georgia Native American history.
That's
just
right.
For all the niggas that say my grandmother's Cherokee, my grandfather Cherokee. I think I got some Cherokee in me. I think I got a Creek in me. I might be a little bit of Geechee and Gullah, all that shit.
That's right. That's right.
So yeah, that's what we're gonna have to get into. We're gonna get into. I got a whole slide that explains the stuff. So, Jeremiah 50:33. Read that again.
Thus said the Yahweh of hosts.
Oh, no. I want him to read it. So like,
I got you. Jeremiah 50 and
another
33.
one. That one. Give me
I think that's the one that Yaqua was reading.
It's like, there's another one I'm looking for. Shall save us from the land of the north.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
That might be Zechariah. Or Zephaniah.
It's one in Jeremiah too. It's like Jeremiah 16 or something.
Oh, Jeremiah.
16.
God.
But while they looking for that, I want to show y'all this before we continue. Let me show you. Watch this. For the Negro only brothers, right, and sisters, how did they make this statue with Judah and Israel being oppressed together if this statue right here has nothing to do with Israel? If these people right here with the long hair that don't got woolly hair but still had a lighter brown skin tone, how are they in this image? You know what I'm saying? If they're not the Northern Kingdom, what's the point of this statue? Isn't there another scripture that says, "I've seen the servants on horses, and the sons of God walking on foot behind them," or something along those lines?
That's right.
How is this not part of that prophecy here? You have a president of Babylon, the Great, spiritual Egypt, Sodom and Gomorrah, all at the same time. You have a president of this place on a horse, right? With two of the sons of God right next to him.
That's right.
So who are you to say that the people that look like this brother right here on the right, or the left, my left, y'all left, if you're looking at it, right? How are you to say that this dude is not an Israelite? The people that look like him are not Israelites because of his hair texture? Y'all crazy, man. Really wild.
Yeah. That's right.
Really.
I got that precept for you too, one.
Yeah, read that for me.
Jeremiah 31:8. Behold, I will bring them forth from the north country and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame, the woman with child and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither.
There's another one though. Hold on, let me find it.
The other one is in Jeremiah 3.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right.
It's two in Jeremiah. It's in Jeremiah twice. Y'all can find it in Jeremiah twice.
18.
Yeah, go ahead.
You want me to pull it? You want me to pull it, or you got it?
Yeah, you can pull it out.
Somebody pull it.
Verse 18. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers.
Yeah. So read that one and then give me Jeremiah 16 and 15. That's what I wanted. I like the way this one reads better. I like this one. So as you see, the children of Israel and the children of Judah are supposed to walk together from the land of the north, right? How does this happen if y'all say we don't know where the majority of the northern kingdom is? That's what they say all the time, right? So where's the remnant? Oh, let's go Isaiah 11. It says a remnant of the people going to be scattered through the four corners of the earth. I think they're scattered, you know what I'm saying? But it says a remnant. So where's the majority?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Where's the Israel that's supposed to walk out with Judah? Because you're talking about a remnant. So we're trying to find out where the majority of them is. If you're saying that the majority of Judah is supposed to be in America, then wouldn't that mean that the majority of Israel will be in America too? So what other people in this continent, right, in these lands are going through the same type of plight that we're going through? The ones
That's
that y'all
right.
don't, yeah. The ones that's a little bit more light skinned with y'all with a little bit different hair texture. So Jeremiah 16:15. Then we're gonna move on.
Con. This is Jeremiah 16, verse 15. But the Lord liveth, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north, and from all the land whither he hath driven them. And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
You see that? He's gonna bring you again into the land that he gave unto your fathers. That's what the Most High is gonna do. But he has to do it with you guys being in the same land at the same time. It don't happen if you're not in the same land at the same time. That prophecy can't come to pass. So my question is, every other brother's question that believes in the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans as being the 10 tribes, right? For you brothers that don't feel that way, how are we in the situation, right? Let me see what JoJo said. I remember JoJo. He the one that didn't want to get on the last time. So what ships did they use to get here? We will prove that in a minute. Stay patient, JoJo. We're gonna get all of that, right? First, I'm gonna show you the ship. In fact, let's see what ships they used to get here, right? Because check this out, right? It said it took them a year and a half to go, right? But what you gotta understand is the Bible don't tell you the full story. Let me pull some up for y'all right quick. Because we're gonna read Second Esdras. In fact, Jonathan, give me Second Esdras chapter 13. We just gonna go ahead and skip there right quick for these brothers. I see they in the chat now. So I want to show y'all something, right? Because for the brothers that think that Arzareth has to be in the Middle East, why did it take them a year and a half if they only got to travel over a river, right? That floods every now and then. Who the Most High held the flood for? If y'all thinking it's the Euphrates, right? And then, why it took them a year and a half to get somewhere that's supposed to not be inhabited in the Middle East when everywhere in the Middle East has been inhabited by now. You feel what I'm saying? Exactly. There's not a place in the Middle East that wasn't inhabited when Alexander the Great came about. But that's something they're trying to acknowledge yet. You know what I'm saying? So how is it a place where never mankind dwelt if mankind's going to be there, right? There's nowhere in the Middle East that was not inhabited when Ham, Shem, and Japhet came on the scene, because Shem was given the land of the Middle East, quote unquote, right? So what land over here was not inhabited? But furthermore, y'all say, well, it said that they held stood the flood of the Euphrates River. So let's see how the Euphrates River floods. Y'all tell me if these trucks right here, right, if this would be something that prevents you from being able to walk. This is a historic water level in Iraq reservoir and dams. Historic water levels of a flood. For those of you guys that don't know, the Euphrates River begins in Iraq. We will show you a map very shortly. So if this is an historic flood and they got these little Toyota trucks that don't even have risers on them and they're able to stick up through the water, they're able to push them back into the dry land, how are we not able to walk and swim through this stuff? Why does it take us a year and a half? Furthermore, let's get something else. Let me see. How long does it take to walk across the Middle East or America, right? I'm gonna show you guys the size difference between the Middle East and America in a minute. But it says in a straight line, bearing any problems, the trip could take 4 to 5 months if you're walking across the U.S., right? If any of you have seen a map with the U.S. and with the U.S. and the Middle East put together and put on top of each other, the whole Middle East, quote unquote, from the tip of Egypt to the end of Kuwait, where the Persian Gulf meets, right? North, east, south, and west only encompasses 90% of the United States of America. So the whole U.S. is bigger than the whole land that you guys consider the Middle East, right? The Northern Kingdom was only traveling from the land known as Babylon or Assyria, which is around the land of Babylon, to Kuwait, down the Euphrates River. If it takes you in a straight line 4 to 5 months and not in a straight line 6+ months, right? All shorter than a year and a half to walk through the whole United States. Why does it take them a year and a half to get to Arzareth if it's in the Middle East and they're in the Middle East when they leave?
That's right.
Explain that to me, JoJo.
That's right.
Or any other brother that's in this comment board thinking that Arzareth is in the Middle East. How could it be in the Middle East if it took them a year and a half to get there? And it only take you 7 months maximum to walk through the whole United States, which is bigger than the whole Middle East. And they weren't even starting from Egypt. They were starting from the Euphrates River in Iraq, which is half of the Middle East cut off. Let me show you a map. Because I know what it looks like. Y'all probably don't know what it looks like off the top of your head. So let's prove all things, right? This is how you cut, because the brothers never looked at a map. They read the scripture and it says that it took them a year and a half, but then they think it take, like, if it take less than that to walk through America, why would it take them that long to travel over a river and through some land that doesn't have no water in it? They're walking through sand, right? The most they'd have to walk through is sand dunes. It ain't even sand dunes in desert the whole time. There's plenty of agricultural land, as you can see right here through the Euphrates in the picture right here. It's grass and everything, right? Rocks, pigeons, ducks, all that stuff. So it's not like they're walking through a desert land that's going to be just completely hot. They falling out and stuff like it's Egypt. It looks like America in the Middle East. Same type of climate. Jerusalem's climate year-round is like New York's. Right? So this is what I'm trying to get you guys to understand. It wouldn't have been difficult, or it took a year for them to walk a year and a half. Wouldn't have been no ships that were needed. You don't need a ship to cross through the Euphrates River. Look at that. What ship you need to cross it? You could walk right through it, follow the narrow passages of the river, like it says, and walk right through the dang river. We're going to prove it. Let's see how far the Euphrates goes.
Hey, Salakia, I don't want one quick note on that too. The distance from, I just Googled it. You can Google this. The distance from Iraq to Kuwait is 565 kilometers. The distance from the East Coast to the West Coast is approximately 4,800 kilometers.
And it takes you 6 months to walk, yo.
You can Google this. That's wild.
6 months to walk. How many kilometers you said it was from Iraq to where?
From Iraq to Kuwait is 565 kilometers.
So look, y'all. Look. Here's the Euphrates River, right? Let me see if I can zoom in on it. Let me see if I can zoom in. Hold on. Okay. Yes. All right. Let's zoom in on the Euphrates for y'all. Hold on. Let me find it. Where are we at? Oh my damn. Somebody got me echoing. I can hear myself talking. All right, here we go. All right, look. I'm gonna follow this map all the way down to Euphrates. So for those of y'all that can't see, right quick, before I zoom in, the brother said how many kilometers out?
Salakia, 565.
So 565 kilometers from here to here. How many kilometers from across the United States? 565, guys. 4,000 what? Right.
And for the United States is 4,800 kilometers.
So 4,800 kilometers, right? So that's like, if this is 500, right? It takes 2 500s to make 1,000. So that's like 6 of these is the United States. So 6 of these distances, 5 or 6 of these makes you, takes 5 to 6, 7 months max to walk ladies and gentlemen, to walk, right? These Negro-only brothers that claim that our earth is not the United States think that if it takes 6 months to walk the whole stretch of the United States, they think it's going to take a year and a half to walk this distance. Please tell me how that's possible.
That's not possible.
It don't take people in a wheelchair a year and a half to wheel this distance. I'm being real with you. It don't. You're lying. It don't make no sense. But let's zoom in and see what these narrow passages could have been and what actual flood was being held back, because it wasn't the flood that y'all think about. Why is it zooming in? Oh, I'm wilding. That's why. That's why I'm doing it wrong. Okay, my bad. So look, here we are. Euphrates River. Check it out. And as you see, this is the widest part of the Euphrates, right? The Haditha Dam Lake, right? This is where you saw that flood in Iraq. The people were somewhere around here with their trucks and stuff like that, right? So let me zoom in. We're gonna follow the lake and see where they would have had to travel, right? Here we go, Euphrates, as you can see. We're gonna travel it and follow it and see where we end up at. Just following the lake. Here we go, back at it, right? There it is. So you guys see, I'm not lying. Euphrates, right? Let's travel. Here we are. They're traveling through here, right? Through the narrow passages of the river. This is the narrow passage, right? So when it's saying that they followed the narrow passages of the river or entered in through the narrow passages of the river, it's not saying they hopped up in here and just swam, right? It's literally saying they followed the narrow passages of the river. But where did they enter into, right? They entered into the Persian Gulf, ladies and gentlemen. When you're reading the Bible, you got to fill in the blanks. It's not going to tell you every single thing. Brothers had common sense back then. That's been something that's been lost through the generations nowadays, right? So sense isn't common no more. But for the past ages, most people would be able to read that and know, oh, okay, they followed the Euphrates. And then once they got to the end of it, he had to hold still the flood that's known as the ocean that actually kills people, right? Through a Persian Gulf that actually used to flood year round, and I'm going to prove it to you. It's been so many floods now that it doesn't have to flood year round because it's a Persian Gulf. But back during the time that the Northern Kingdom would have had to travel it, it was still flooding. We're going to prove it. So Euphrates River, you travel down the Euphrates, right? We're still moving down, still traveling, right? We're going through the whole Middle East. Y'all are saying it take a year and a half to do this, when America's bigger and it takes 6 months. No boats. They're walking, right? Walking, till we get, oh, hold up, losing the river. Here we go. It's going to make a, they're the Tigris right next to us, right? We're going to follow the Euphrates all the way down through the narrow passages. The reason it's taking long like this is because this is the research that the brothers from the Northern Kingdom didn't do. So I got to show them, man. I have to show them this stuff. And then after this, we're going to go back to that map that Christopher Columbus had from 1492, which ironically got him to the same place that we know the Northern Kingdom is because he followed the same route that they took. How you follow the route and end up in a different place? It don't make sense. But rather he followed the route and ended up in the exact same place of the people, and they spoke the language to him. They gave him the Shema when he got off the boat with Luis de Torres, who was also an Israelite. That's how they were able to know who they found, right? Oh, but look where we end up at. Look where we at. We still going. It's almost over, right? Al-Hathra, Basra. Y'all heard of that before, right? Now we in Saudi Arabia, coming to us in Iraq. We got Iran and Iraq, right? And now, bam, what big old body of water is this? This is this is the Persian Gulf. Akim and Akwatium. That's where we are. Look at that, Persian Gulf. So what we did was We followed this river, this one right here, all the way through this land, right? All the way from here. This is the Euphrates. Started Al Falua, right? We went all the way down here till we got to Kuwait City, right? That's why I said Kuwait, because this is
That's
the
right.
water city, right? All the way to the Persian Gulf. Now they traveled through this Persian Gulf, which used to flood, which is what the Most High had to hold back for them to pass through. Why it took a year and a half? Because they had to get ships. Say it take them 6 months. How long it took for Columbus to sail the waters? Can you Google that for me right quick, God?
Con.
We're gonna do the math for you, because since y'all scared to do the math, I know that's what it is. You don't want to do this research and go this deep because you're afraid that if you find out that it couldn't have taken a year and a half for them to walk or take ships to get to the Middle East if they were already in the Middle East, that means they have to go somewhere that's a further land that wasn't inhabited. The only place by default is the Americas, because we know everywhere else on the planet was inhabited. Elam has its land, India. Moab and Ammon have Asia, right? Ishmael and Elam got the Middle East, right? Along with Esau, right?
Con.
Esau got Europe. So the whole thing's taken. Ain't no land for nobody. All of these places is cities. Where do you see a place that don't have a city on it? Huh? Where
That's right.
don't have a city? You think this is Nazareth? Kerr? Huh? Let me zoom in.
That's right. And the most ancient civilizations was all in that area, so them cities would have been taken.
Look at the cities. I know y'all thought you was there, but this is all city, guys.
That's
This
right.
is dead land. Nobody lives here. You ain't gonna find an Israelite in this land. But these are the cities, the places people live. There's names everywhere. There's no place here that nobody doesn't inhabit.
That's right.
If it's a place where people live, you know what I'm saying? Everywhere on earth, there's places where nobody still lives. But if it's a place where people are living, that by default means that it's not a place where no man lived. And if
That's
the
right.
Israelites are supposed to be there, that means somebody has to be living there right now. So right now, it's not going to be a place where no man lives, right?
Con.
So, that's just that. All these cities were filled. All these names are ancient. These are the names that the cities had back in the day.
That's right.
That's why they still got the Islamic writing here, the Arabic writing. These are still the Arabic names that were given to the cities before. You can go back and find out how old Erbil is, right? They still have a Babylon somewhere in here. If I zoom in, which damn is Babylon, Iraq?
Con.
If I can find Babylon. Look, Samarra, Hilha, Karbala, Al-Hazama, Basra. Bro, these is all ancient names, yo. If you find Babylon, you could Google Babylon, you'll find it. It's still a city. You know what I'm saying? It's either in Saudi Arabia or Iraq. It's one of them. But the point I'm trying to make here is, look, Elam, right here. The point I'm trying to make to you is these are all the names of the ancient cities. All of these places were inhabited, right? So let's move on. Since
Con.
we
And as
go
a
ahead.
side note too, Adawan, I got that it only took Columbus 5 months to explore all of the Caribbean islands.
5 months
And
to explore all
it
the Caribbean islands.
that's wild. It took him five from the time he left to the time he made it to the last island, 5 months.
So that means when you have a ship, it don't take that long to travel through the water.
That's right.
So if these Israelites gotta build ships, it's gonna take them some time, right? If they gotta steal ships big enough, it's gonna take them some time. That might take a month. Then you gotta travel, right? Then once you get to the land, because they went from the south up to the north, they're traveling from South America, right? They got a ship that finds the islands. Some of them go and inhabit the islands. Then Gad takes the governor's portion for himself, so he gets North America. They split out through North America. Reuben goes with it. And from there, they go and expand up into Canada and so on forth. So on and so forth, right?
That's right.
That's how it went. Want proof? Here's the map. Actually, before I show you that map, let's get some more research from a brother. Oh, let me show you this first. Esau got pretty good information. All right, so look. Remember I was telling y'all about Columbus, right? Arzareth, the Arzareth, America, home of the Israelites. This was made in December 26, 2016 by Edomite, right? Check this out. He says, the name of the land beyond the great river, right? Notice he said the great river. He didn't say the Euphrates River because even this white man is able to realize that the great river is actually talking about the ocean. The same way Gad would call it the great river. Why did they call it the great river? Because it's the same terminology that was known back in the day when we was in Israel. Gad still talk with that prophetic seer type speech. That's why they all sound like fortune cookies. You know what I'm saying? I can say that because I'm Gad. But like that's where it comes from. The great river. That's what the terminology for the great ocean, the great body of water, the great river, right? So check it out. It says, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses. Why? Because in the book of Second Esdras that we're going to go into, that the man's about to quote, they're supposed to go into this land to observe the laws that they weren't able to observe around the multitude of the heathen, right? So it says, until the time of the restoration, according to second or fourth Esdras, chapter 40. What was that? 40. I can't read. 13, verse 45.
13, verse 40. That's
I
right.
like it. So Columbus identified America with this land. You understand what I'm saying? And Caesar's Christopher Columbus. So Caesar is the white man that translated Christopher Columbus's works, right? Is how they were able to make these movies and everything and tell you that, oh, Columbus was using the book of Ezra to find the route that he used, right? It was this man that translated it. So if you could get Caesar's book, you go to page 15, you will see Christopher Columbus's quote where he's actually writing down and saying that America, the new world that he found, the Americas, is indeed Arzareth, and he explains it in full depth by telling you the story that Luis de Torres told him. Luis de Torres was his head navigator who was on the ship with him. I think he had 8 Hebrew-speaking translators, and Luis was the head one. He was a Moorish Israelite from Portugal, Spain. That's where he was from. And he was put on the ship 2 days, the same 2 days that Columbus was talking to Rodrigo Borgia and the Queen. That's when they decided to pick up Luis de Torres because he was a known person among Spain and Portugal as somebody that knew and spoke the Hebrew. So they made him round up people that he knew, which were the other 7 translators, and that's how they put them on the ship. And those were the people that actually got off the ship to go find the natives. Columbus stayed on the boat until they told him the coast was clear, the people are friendly. That's when he got off the ship and started raping everybody. But before that, it was Luis de Torres and the Israelites who went out there to speak to them, which is why they were greeted with the Shema. The natives and Hispanics didn't greet white people with the Shema because it wasn't crackers that got off the ship. It was people that looked like us. That's why they were comfortable greeting them like that. Columbus and the Queen and the Pope were hoping that they were going to find these people, and they did. So to trick them into being friendly, because you've heard Joel say this plenty of times, how the natives were friendly to the people, they gave them everything they had, and they wept when they couldn't give him any more. It was like that because they saw their own people. And after the fact is when they found out they were actually in there serving the white man. They brought the devil upon the shores. So, moving on. The white boy also put the tribes of the Moorish Empire that were here before the arrival of Christopher Columbus. Why does he say Moorish Empire? Not because of Moorish science, right? Not because of Almoravid or any of that mess that you Negroes are thinking. You understand? It's because he knows that Luis de Torres and the other 7 navigators on the ship with Columbus were known as Moors because they're from Europe. Blackamoor, the term, that's where it comes from for the Israelites that were in Europe, right? Luis de Torres was one of them. So he called it a Moorish empire because they were trying to call themselves Israelites. During this time, if you guys forgot, this is the same time that the expulsion of the Jews was happening in Europe. Come on, ladies and gentlemen, do your history research. This is why I be teaching out of history, so that y'all can put y'all supposed to connect the dots. Fope ain't connect no dots for you. Reuben, right? And ironically, The chart that this white boy made up through Christopher Columbus's notes is the same chart that we have. Reuben, Florida Black Seminole Indians. Gad, Cheyenne, Sioux, Apache, etc. Comanche, Siksika or Blackfoot, all these type of people. Shoshone, all of these are Gad. Asher, Inca, Colombia to Uruguay. Dang, that's the same thing our 12 tribes chart says that y'all niggas don't believe in. Neftali, right? Argentina to Chile, Indians. That's the same thing our chart says that y'all don't want to believe in. Manasseh, Cuban Indians. Simeon,
That's right.
they don't have, right? But we know Simeon is Dominicans, right? If they got everything else on here that we got, we know that Simeon is the Dominicans. Issachar, Aztec Indians. Who's Issachar the Aztec? The so-called Mexicans. How'd the white man get the information? He's the one actually talking to the people. He's getting off the ships, writing down what these natives are saying that they are, who these people are saying that they are to them. So who are you to say that they're not the Israelites? This Edomite has the same chart, and he's getting his notes from a book from Christopher Columbus, Cristobal Colon. Okay? Zebulon, Guatemala to Panama, Mayans, same people. And Joseph and Ephraim, Arawak Indians, right? AKA Cuban, AKA Puerto Rican, Taino Indian, Arawak, right? The Dominicans were also the same thing, Simeon. Bam, in your face, sprayed like mace. Now your eyes burn because it's right there, bro. You can't do nothing. It's right here. Look at it.
Hey,
it's the same chart, bro.
Same that's chart. Crazy. That's crazy right there. You know, a lot of brothers gonna see that. Now they're gonna take it for face value because they're gonna say, "Oh man, a white man said it, so I gotta believe it now."
They gotta believe it now.
No, I believe it, right? Because I know some of them go say, "Well, y'all just believe what the white man said." No, the fact of the matter is, the white man has the records. They got the records to prove we're Israelites.
They take in. That's right. They got impeccable records, man. You got to get that to
impeccable records. Why are they have records with these Israelites, these so-called natives and Hispanics, saying who they are, saying what tribe they're from, while they still can remember it? This is 1492. They ain't got their heritage beat out of them completely yet. They had already been taken slaves. We're going to prove that in a minute with these slides I have, but they hadn't got their heritage beaten out of them yet. So they know who they are. So this is what you got to understand, right? Why is somebody scoffing? The Aztecs put plates in their lip like Canaanites and practiced human sacrifice because they were in contact with the Canaanites. Didn't we just read earlier that Israelites have a problem with following other people's customs? They were inland with Moabites and Ammonites who were looking for their people, who were a part of Attila the Hun's army. You can do your research on this. They were part of the Qin dynasty, Qin, the same people from Mulan, right? This is why the movie Mulan was there. They had the Huns and everything marching, taking over the whole world. Disney Channel know the Bible. So look, they got the Huns there. One of the Hun ships gets lost. They travel to this land coming from Asia. You're running right into America, right? This is why you have a lot of the people that's Mexican and Mayan, all that type of stuff. The Aztecs, especially, some of them look Asian, right? Juan Manuel Marquez is one I like to use as an example. He's a Mexican boxer. When you look at him, you wouldn't be able to tell if he was a Filipino or not. It's because we were mixing with those people back then, right? Same thing happened with the Canaanites. If you do your real history on the Canaanites, right, who are the rubber people, also known as the what do they call them? The Olmecs, right? These people came to the Americas and mixed with the natives and Hispanics, right? And they started taking on their customs. Deut, Judah. It's no different than black women wanting to wear blonde hair in America after they see cracker women. They see the custom, they see what's popular, and they want to do the same thing. We were doing that here. Jewelry was a thing. You can go and look it up. Natives used to walk around with marbles and gold like it was nothing. Used to have gold teeth, gold chains, gold earrings. You've seen movies like Dang. Uh, what's that thing movie? It start with E. It's not Atlantis. It's El Dorado, right?
Mhm.
El Dorado.
Y'all seen all the pictures from El Dorado and stuff like that? The big gold city, right? All the people living there got gold all over their bodies, all gold everything, right?
Ah,
That's the type of people we was back then. White man comes, or I mean, Canaanites come through, and they're wearing jewelry in their lips. They're wearing gauge earrings, big
mhm.
old plate with their faces on it. So we're like, oh, we want to do that. They got different types of size. We start eating off another tree that we're not supposed to have no part in.
That's right.
That's why they started doing that. Same way that Haitians picked up Yoruba and voodoo from Hamites, right? Are we gonna say Haitians aren't the Haitians aren't Israel because they do voodoo? It's a Hamite cut, like it's a Hamite custom, a Hamite tradition, huh?
La ah.
That's what I'm saying. You can't say that. It's not facts.
That's
So
right.
that's why they did that type of stuff. They were sacrificing bodies because it was an animal sacrifice custom that we had, right? As they lost their heritage, they were still trying to keep control over things that the Most High wanted. They started giving human sacrifice because they thought that those sacrifices would be more of what the Most High wants. They didn't have the Bible no more.
That's right. I got a precept
They
for
were
you
trying
too.
to do over extreme sacrifices, which led to them killing their own people.
Mhm.
That's how that happened. But it's also biblical. You had a precept, Bob?
Con. I was just gonna pull out Deuteronomy 18 and 9
Kind.
just to show you how much our people was prone to doing that, man.
Nothing.
And even Moses knew that. When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. So that's a stone cold reference right there. Like we always tried to follow after the other nations, man. That's why Moses had to write it down.
Hey, Salakia. Hey,
Con,
read the next verse. All right.
con. I flipped the page. Hold tight. All right, con. Verse 10.
Mm-hmm.
There should not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire.
It's the same thing. That's the
That's right.
sacrifices. Passing them through the fire. That's the sacrifices, man.
That's
Giving
right.
them up.
Con. Or that useth divination, or an
Mhm.
observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch.
And that's all the Native Americans was doing, as well as the Israelites, man. I mean, not
Right.
Israelites, but Judah, the southern kingdom, I would say.
Con. I mean, even if you look at like he brought up, if you look at Simeon and you know what I'm saying? Like when they and it's very interesting that he don't have Simeon on his list
Mm.
because remember when if I'm not lying, it was the French and the Spanish or the French and the Portuguese that took over the land of Hispaniola. And at a certain time they was both dealing with like they was kind of working with each other diplomatically over time, but as the time progressed it became a big split where you know what I'm saying, like this nation was not dealing with that nation as far as the colonizers. So the French stopped dealing with the Spanish or the Portuguese or whoever it was that took over the other side of the island. And so that's why it's hard to distinguish who Simeon is. So it don't surprise me that Christopher Columbus don't have that name on that. That's very interesting.
Huh. I'm trying to read some of the comments. I see people talking about scoffers, but I can't really tell who it is.
Con.
The why Judah not scoffing, he's asking questions. I thought he was asking questions. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. Y'all tell me what's going on, bro. I'm wilding. I'm wilding.
Now we
Paul Aztecs, Canaan, this is it. Yeah. But I hope you understand that though, Dawad. That's the main thing I was trying to get you to understand. The Aztecs can't be Canaanites just because they follow customs that they did. If that's the case, then every Negro in America that wear blonde hair is an Edomite.
he also asked Salaki. Salaki, go ahead, Adawar.
No, go ahead.
He also asked, did Paul teach the northern kingdom?
Paul taught the Northern Kingdom when he was he wasn't in he didn't have direct conversations with the Northern Kingdom because he wasn't particularly sent to those people. He was in a captivity that most Northern Kingdom wouldn't have been in at the time. Wasn't no Edomites going to the Americas taking the Northern Kingdom yet. So, he was talking to Israelites, but Hamashiach Yahushua spoke about the Northern Kingdom, right? Give me John 10 and 12, I think it is. Paul spoke about the Northern Kingdom, but he didn't speak directly to them. When he was talking about Israelites having to be grafted in Romans 11, he wasn't just talking about the Israelites that were there in front of his face. He was also talking about the sheep of another fold because he knew who the Mashiach Yahushua was talking about when he said that. He didn't speak directly to the Northern Kingdom, but he definitely spoke about the Northern Kingdom and told the Israelites that were around about him that they would be sheep of another fold being grafted in if they have faith, which is what he was talking about in Romans 11. Go ahead and read that. John 10 and 12, if that's what it is. It might be 10 and 16. It's one of
them. John 10 and 12. But he that is a hireling and not the shepherd.
Nah, that ain't it. There are other sheep of his. Huh?
You talking about when they say one nation and he gonna go to the other nation?
Nah, there are sheep of another fold that I must bring in.
That's a little bit down. That's a little bit down. Verse 16, you're right.
There you go, 16.
And other sheep I have, which are not of this fold. Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice.
Yeah, so if he's saying sheep that are not of this fold, the fold that's in front of him is clearly the it's clearly the southern kingdom, right? Don't they say in Hebrews that it is evident that our Lord sprang out of Judah? Isn't Judah the southern kingdom? So the fold that's round about him is the southern kingdom. So if he's telling you there are sheep of another fold that I must bring in, they have to hear my voice too, right? These sheep are obviously of the northern kingdom. That's the other fold, right?
That's
right. You got a piece of paper, you fold it in half, one fold southern kingdom, one fold northern kingdom. He's talking to this fold. He's saying there's sheep of this fold that I got to bring in. Those sheep are on the northern country, right? They in the north, land of the north. Arzareth, the faraway country. So he's going to have to wait till Israel and Judah are oppressed together to bring those people back into the covenant, which is the times that we're in right now. Right? But the Negro only don't want you to understand that because they have a secret agenda not to bring Israel back together, as Zephaniah 2 and 1 says.
I got a precept too. I don't want.
Bring it out.
Because there was a little remnant of Northern Kingdom still.
Oh, the Torah night? Is that what it is? I see OMG Yazay said Torah night, humble yourself.
He in that too.
Okay. Y'all Torah nights, huh? Y'all with that Judah Nazareth brother that Joel already snapped on a couple years ago. He was making videos about us when we first came out. I remember you, brother.
Crazy. But I was saying that there was a remnant of Northern Kingdom still in Israel with the Southern Kingdom. It was a small remnant though. Like it's rare to see it talked about. And one precept is
snap! He in the building.
He in there.
He had himself.
He said, "I'm your Messiah." He said, "Yo, that's proud as hell. I'm your Messiah."
You see that? Do you see how these brothers think? You see how they feel, right? He got a picture of what's the brother name?
Denzel.
He got a picture of Denzel as Eli, right?
That's right.
Talking about he's our Messiah. You know why he got Eli? Because he's expecting to still be here when the chariots come. We not.
That's right.
Go ahead.
And this is the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 36. Oh, Slakia. Hold on, Slakia. Okay.
I would try to have to say he was better than the sinner. He wasn't sinning that time. He already knew what was up.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 2, verse 36. And there was one Anna, a prophetess, the daughter of Panoah, of the tribe of Asher. So you can see Asher is still mingled in there. They're not all there though.
Where's the other one?
It tells you they went, but there is a remnant there. There's still a remnant with Israel. With Southern.
That's good.
It's like you. Read that again or break it down. I'm applying this on.
So I was basically just saying that there's a remnant of Northern Kingdom with the Southern Kingdom at the time of Christ, as you can see in Luke
Did
chapter
you
2.
get it?
A small remnant.
I
It's
thought
not
it
a whole
was
bunch of them. It's a very small remnant.
That's right.
Like
And we know that is
stuff.
no, you're good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Hey, Saki, Jojo, did you want us to break down Acts 17:30, or were you asking a question about that? I don't know what that says off the top of my head. Um, I mean, I got more to bring out. I still got to show y'all the rest of this slavery stuff, right? But it's not gonna take too long to go through them slides. I only got like probably 8 more left. But yeah, in fact, we'll get that question in a minute. Let me finish this. So that's that on that screen share. Let me see about what else I got up here. So we showed y'all the Euphrates River, how it can flood, right? Let me show you this. Flooding in the Persian Gulf. To prove to you that so now we've read, the brother brought you, Brother Yonatan showed you the proof, or basically spoke it to you, that the distance between the Americas and the distance that the Israelites would have had to travel leaving Assyria after Shalmaneser would have been in no way, shape, or form any distance that could have possibly taken a year and a half to travel by foot if they're supposed to still be in the Middle East. Can at least the three of us agree on that?
Con.
Say it again.
Like
For the people.
Like well, yeah, the people in the chat too. Hopefully y'all can agree. Put Khan in the chat if you agree, right? That the distance between America, well, the whole stretch of America, and the time that it takes to travel that distance is considerably longer than the distance it would have to take from where the Northern Kingdom was dropped off at by Shalmaneser to wherever they traveled in Assyria, if Assyria is in the Middle East.
That's right.
So basically, what I'm saying is, the brother proved earlier that how many kilometers you said it was 500 or something like
It's
that kilometers.
565 kilometers, which is equal to 351 miles.
So 351 miles is the stretch from what, Iraq to Kuwait.
That's right.
So Babylon to Kuwait is 350 miles. Let's say, right?
That ain't nothing.
350 miles, bruh. That's like the distance you get when you driving from Florida to Georgia or something.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Like,
right.
and you could drive that in like a couple hours. You could drive that in less than a day. So you think it's gonna take you a year and a half to walk that distance? You crazy, right? So check this out. I mentioned to y'all the Persian Gulf and how it flooded, right? Persian Gulf flooding. The Persian Gulf was a dry land river valley, right? As sea level rose during the glacial meltdowns, the ocean gradually flooded into the Gulf. Since that time, the breeze from the Tigris and Euphrates River has built a substantial delta, creating most of the land in Kuwait and establishing the present coastlines. So before this flood, or before this big old trench that's now known as the Persian Gulf was flooded by the Euphrates and Tigris River enough for it to become the Persian Gulf, it was just a big hole in the ground, basically, that water could fill in as a reservoir. And as it got full, it started to sink so much to the fact that it created Kuwait, right? And it gave them the coastlines between Kuwait, the water city, and the Persian Gulf. So if you go back to during the time period, right? Let's we know how off Esau's carbon dating is, but let's look at something right quick, right? How long would it take? Here it goes. Lost civilization. So check this out. If it pop up for me, come on. Hold on, y'all. All right, here we go. So says lost civilization may have existed beneath the Persian Gulf, right? So let's show you, right? This is how the valley would have been, and eventually it becomes Gulf Oman, right? Okay, so tells you veiled beneath the Persian Gulf, once fertile landmass, right? So this used to be a landmass with no water in it. It was a fertile landmass, something you could grow vegetation in, right? They're trying to
Con.
say it was a home to Africans more than 75,000 to 100,000 years ago, right? We know that the carbon dating is trash. I don't even think they could track that far. But they say up to 8,000 years ago, right? Check this out. As its peak, the floodplain, so meaning in 75,000 to 100,000 years ago, it still wasn't at its peak. They're saying it didn't reach its peak till 8,000 years ago, right? Which I think it would be a lot less time, significantly shorter than that, because the Esau's carbon dating. I would probably put it around 4 to 3,000 years ago that it got its peak. It reached the peak that it's at now. So the land, it said that the Persian Gulf would have been about the size of Great Britain. So this Gulf would have been about the size of Great Britain before it was full the way it is now. Then shrank as water began to flood the area. Then, about 8,000 years ago, the land would have been swallowed up by the Indian Ocean and reviewed, other reviewed scientists said. So they're trying to say that this Gulf was actually a landmass that got swallowed up by the Indian Ocean, right? There's another article that I found before that I can't find right now. I'm gonna try to find it though and probably bring it to y'all next Monday. But it explained how the Persian Gulf used to flood during the time of this landmass and everything, used to flood annually, just like the Euphrates and Tigris River flood annually. So one of the lies that was that's being taught by these Negro only brothers that feel that Arzareth is in the Middle East, they're thinking that when it, in fact, give me Second Esdras chapter 13 verse 40. We're gonna read it because they're thinking
Con.
that hold on, was I not showing it to you? Yeah, I need to get to see that. Huh? I ain't need to share the screen. It's all good. I got to read it. See, I heard it. But
Yeah, you were sharing the screen. You were sharing the screen for a while. It
okay.
just stopped. Yeah, it just stopped sharing like a couple of minutes ago.
The Israelite movement is dead and controlled by witches, but you're a Torah knight, Judah
Judah
Nazareth.
Nazareth. What are you talking
Which
about?
means you're part of the Israelite movement that you just said is dead. You're a duck, bro.
That didn't make
Like
no
a
sense
whole
what he
duck.
just said.
That man cut himself. He
You a
pulled the
whole
sword.
duck,
He
bro.
pulled his sword out too quick and cut himself.
Yeah.
Call him
And
cheddar
check this
pie.
out. Look. Pirating our stream gets you banned. So go ahead, try it. We might get your whole little sorry behind YouTube channel blocked and everything. Ain't nobody watching you already when we shut you down 2 years ago. You coming back to try to hop on this again. The most I told me he was gonna be here, bro. I woke up this morning thinking Tor Knight gonna show up, and here you are. It's crazy. It's amazing. That's why I got so excited when I saw you because it was like, wow. I knew you was gonna show up. That means, you know what that means? That means he been secretly watching us in the backfield the whole time for the last 2 years. We thought we was rid of him, and he just been watching us this whole time. Now he's back, like he never left.
That's right.
See? Yep, that's why he's here for clout. Exactly. He's trying to get back on the radar. See what I'm saying? They laughing at you, Art. You're a duck. So, Second Esdras 13 and 40.
Con. Second Ezra 13 and 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the
So
time of Hosea.
the Negro only brothers, right? The Torah Night believers, the Fopers, right? They feel that Arzareth has to be in the Middle East. We've already debunked that if it is in the Middle East, tell me why it took them a year and a half to travel here, as it's going to say, right? Other question I want you guys to know is, yeah, right, where is his fruit? That's a good question. I think he's the only fruit. He's the apple of his own eye. That's it. Like, but what we have to understand is this: it's going to talk about them entering the Euphrates River, right? Now, the
Con.
Negro, the Arzareth is in the Middle East. Believers feel that them holding the flood, Most High holding still the flood of the Euphrates, was the only river they had to travel because it's the only water that they mention in this verse, right? But I showed you guys a picture of how the Euphrates River floods, and it's not the type of flood that the Most High would have to hold back, right? Because Ishmael's in there pushing cars through the flood. So why we couldn't walk through it?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
So that would mean that after they traveled through the Euphrates River, through the narrow parts that we're about to read, that would mean that they entered another body of water that the Most High would have to stop from flooding over them, right? It would make more sense if it's an actual ocean, right? Or a large
Con.
body of water that could actually drown the Israelites and cause some harm to them, right? Not a body of water that's considered a flood when it reaches your shins, because you can still walk through the water. So let's bring that out.
Con. I'm gonna start from the top. Verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which are carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osei the king,
Mm-hmm.
whom Shalmaneser the king of Assyria led away captive.
Right? So
And
the
he,
king of Assyria led us away captive, right? So
Con.
it's already cut off. If he's the king of Assyria, right? Let's pull up a map of where Assyria was right quick. Let me see how to do that. Map of Assyria. If he's the king of Assyria, that means that they're already cut off from the whole Middle East. The whole Middle East isn't included in the place that they have to travel from. Furthermore, they're leaving Assyria to travel to where they're traveling from. Right? This is a better picture. Okay, so let me pull this up for y'all so y'all can see this. Let me pull this up so y'all can see this. This is why reading is fundamental and research is too. Look at this. Y'all see this little picture over here of Assyria in Babylon? Mind
Con.
you, Euphrates River starts in Babylon, right? Here they are, Assyria, right? Old time Assyria. So the Euphrates River that we found would have been like around right here. We traveled through the Euphrates, ended up right here in the Persian Gulf, right? Same map. You see the Euphrates goes to the Gulf, right?
Con.
This is the water that would have flooded over that the Most High had to hold still. This is the narrow passage of the Euphrates that they followed to get to this body of water that the Most High had to hold still. We're going to prove it. Keep reading up.
And he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land.
So he carried them over the waters, and so came them into another land. What waters did he carry them over? These waters. Because these waters, they didn't go over. They walked through them through the narrow passages. Hello? It said they entered in through the narrow passages. They're already in the Euphrates River. What does the Most High have to stop it for?
That's right.
He stopped when it got here. Because this was the one they had to worry about. The body of water they had to worry about, and that they had to actually cross through to get to where they were going. This place where never mankind dwelt. Arzareth, the New World, America. Let me show you the map. Then after we show you this map, we're going to get straight into reading how they served identical slavery, and we're going to get the curse of Deuteronomy 28 to prove that they fit all of the curses of Deuteronomy 28 that the northern kingdom doesn't, that the southern kingdom doesn't fit. Because there are curses of Deuteronomy 28 that the southern kingdom doesn't fit for this captivity. It fit them for another captivity, but it doesn't fit them for the last captivity in America. Because it specifically says something about things that would happen in their land. Them not being able to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Them not being able to enjoy their crops, all that type of stuff. What land did the Negro man have when he got here? I thought you got off the ship as slaves, as Deuteronomy 28:68 says.
Mm-hmm.
You would get off the ships and immediately be sold as bondmen and bondwomen. So what land did you have here to be able to cultivate, build vineyards and wine, and have animals and cattle that the heathen nations would eat from?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got to answer that. Torah Knight got to tell me who that is. So, keep reading.
Verse 41. But they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt.
Go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Go ahead, keep going.
That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land.
They're going to this other place to keep their statutes that they never kept in their own land. Let's go, keep going.
And they enter into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river.
So they entered here. Let me stop sharing this one. Let me stop sharing this one. Let me pull this one back up. So they entered the Euphrates through the narrow passages of the river, right? These narrow passages, right? That we was going over. Y'all saw me go through the whole river and show y'all how narrow it is, right? When it's talking about the narrow passages, and then you saw a big passage of the river, right? Where it met, where it turned into the big river and then it got skinny again. That's because they only followed the skinny parts. They were following the narrow passages of the river to get them to the Persian Gulf. Notice it's two narrow passages of the same Euphrates River that get you to the same big river, which is the Persian Gulf. You understand what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you just read the article that said that the Persian Gulf used to flood due to the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, right? So this is one big river basin right here. That's all this is. So if this is the flooding, if this is where the water is going to flood, this is what the Most High would have to stop so that they could pass through to get to the land that they're going to. This body of water is what it would take the majority of the time to get through because of the danger that you would possess trying to get there. There's no danger going through this. You know why? Because this is as deep as the flood gets when you're going through the Euphrates River. It don't get no deeper than this. Look at these pictures. It's a brother still in a boat. All the vegetation is still visible, right? This is a whole city being flooded by the Euphrates River. This is the shortest building that's been overtaken by the water, and it's not even all the way overtaken. This is how big the land mass is. That means this isn't a full building. These are what the buildings look like, and they're not overtaken by water. This is a flood in the Euphrates. It's not a flood that you would need to be and this is not the narrow passage. This is the wide passage of the Euphrates. So this is the main body of water for the Euphrates before you get to the Persian Gulf. And it's still not flooded to the point where you can't walk through it. You can walk right through this water right here. From here all the way to that part of the water, the mountains, the hills. You can walk through all of that. It requires no swimming. Unless you're like 4 feet tall. So this is what I'm saying. This is not the flood they were talking about, regardless of what brothers have been teaching, right? So go ahead, continue on that.
For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over.
So he showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. What flood did he have to hold still? How did he have to show signs? What signs do you need to be shown to you if you're just following the narrow passage through the Euphrates River, first of all? They talk about, oh yeah, the Mayans and the Zebulonites, you know, the Northern Kingdom, the Aztec and Zebulon was good. I mean, Issachar and Zebulon was really good at navigating the stars, right? Asher was the ones that was good with the boats and everything. So, you know, everybody's good. We got the 3 navigators right there. Well, what did they have to navigate? What was the Most High having to show them signs for if they're just following a river? That's the sign, the river. But if you're in the body of water known as the ocean, right, where once you get about this far out and you can't see no land on the north, east, south, or the west, all you have is the stars to look up at. Those would be the signs, would they not?
That's right.
Isn't it known history and fact that the Aztecs and the Mayans were known people that, aka Issachar and Zebulon, that were known for being able to navigate through the stars? Isn't this a known fact? That's why they tell you about the Mayan calendar, right? The Mayan calendar was perfect. The world was supposed to end in 2012 because the Mayans were able to navigate the stars. They were able to know the signs of heaven. This is the same prophecy that was given to the Northern Kingdom when they were able to get to the land of Arzur. Same thing that was supposed to happen.
I got that precept for you too.
Go ahead, read that.
This is the book of First Chronicles, chapter 12 and verse 36. Is that what I want? Let me make sure that's what I want. About Asher. Hold on, it's in here. It's the card. Hold on, bear with me. 32, Salaki, 32.
So what do you have?
And the children of Issachar which were men that had understanding of the times, to know what Israel ought to do.
So they had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do, right?
It's good.
They understand the times and the seasons.
Mm-hmm.
They were given signs, right? What signs were they looking at? Maybe the northern star that takes you to the northern country, the land of the north that they would have to be saved from according to prophecy. The same northern star that Columbus used on his ship in the same diagram that you're looking at on the screen right now. And look where the ship is coming from. This, ladies and gentlemen, would be the Persian Gulf, right? They're showing this map as if they're coming from Asia because that was the lie that Columbus told, right? But notice the first ship that you see is right here, diagonal with the Persian Gulf, right? So let's say they come through the Persian Gulf, and mind you, in the movie 1492 in the Conquest of Paradise, Columbus himself tells you we're going to be using the book of Ezra. For he told us about the way that the Northern Kingdom made it to the land of the North. And I believe that we're going to be going to the same country and might have an encounter with it. Columbus says this in the movie. They say it in the movie because they translated it from his notes that he actually wrote down with his own two Edomite hands. Right? And this is what he said. He's writing the diagram with the map, and the map looks like this. He's traveling from from Kuwait through the Persian Gulf, around Africa to South America, through South America, up to the islands.
That's
and
right.
then from the islands, as you see the boats, right? East and west, to the Americas. These are the routes that Columbus people took. These are the routes that Americo Vespucci people took. These are the routes that King Edwards and King Charles people took after they had their people bring it here, right? This is the same map. The map makers that made the Negro land map from West Africa, those brothers were using, or those Edomites, I should say, were using the map based off of his calculations to determine how long it would take to get these slaves from West Africa to Europe and West Africa to the Americas. It all came from Columbus's route. That's why he's praised the way he's praised. The white man got to make all the money that he made because of the route that that Columbus was able to find to get them to the Americas, the same way that we got here. They were able to put the Most High's chosen people in captivity because one white guy read the Bible and understood the Bible enough to know how to navigate the route. And he did it the same way we're doing it. He didn't read nothing different than what we read, and he ran into the people that speak the Shema. Right? Why are these Latinos and Native Americans that aren't related to us at all, why do they know the Shema? Find me a Russian related to Vladimir Putin that knows the Shema.
That's right. And how do you know it's the Shema?
Hey, find a Christian that knows the Shema.
Find a Christian that knows the Shema.
Hey, he's stupid.
Bring that out. So if they know the Shema, how are they not the Israelites?
That's right. And how he knew it was the Shema when he got there.
He knew it was a Shema because it was the Israelite that got off the ship.
That's right.
A man that still spoke Hebrew. A man known as a Moor, a black Moor at that. With a Spanish name, Luis de Torres. His name wasn't Judah ben Israel.
That's right.
Luis de Torres. Like, come on, bro. This is the map. This is how they got here. Persian Gulf, track through the Euphrates River, roundabout, South America, work their way up. This is what took a year and a half. It takes 6 months. It says through that country, it took a year and a half. It didn't tell you it took a year and a half for the whole journey. Through that country, it takes a year and a half. You don't think it would take a year and a half to travel from South America to the tip of America? if it takes 6 to 7 months to travel from here to here? Huh? Just looking at the size of the continents, you could tell that based on the size of this one and this one, it would take about the same amount of time. So if it takes a year to travel here on foot, it would take a year to travel here on foot. This is exactly half of the size of both these masses. That's a year and a half. You could look at that and make that same distinction. It said through that country. Keep reading up. You ain't finished. You ain't got to that part yet, right?
La'ah.
Yeah. Keep reading. Slacky. I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead.
Verse 44 again. For the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. And the same region is called Arsareth.
Now read that part again.
You got to deal with that.
Through that country, right?
For through that country there was a great way to go.
Through the river, through the river.
Through that country.
No.
There was a great way to go.
See. So that means it took a year and a half to travel through Arzareth. Guys.
I would have said
not a year and a half to get there.
That's right.
It took a year and a half to travel through Arzareth. It don't even take a year and a half to walk through the Middle East.
That's right.
How could Arzareth be in the Middle East? Don't make sense, right? Hold on, y'all.
Hey, that's a great point he made. That's a good point.
That's right.
You got to deal with that. Through that country. It didn't say through the ocean, through the sea, through the river. It took a year and a half. It don't say that.
That's right. It said through the country.
Through that country, and then it clarifies what the region or that country is. It's Arsareth.
That's right. Hey, you know, it's interesting too, because I was looking this up on the side while he was speaking, but how about it was 380 miles from Egypt to Israel? It's estimated number, 380 miles. And we know that trip could have been done in like 8 months, 6-8 months. So that once again, that 350 miles, man, that's a 5 to 6 month trip, man. No longer than that.
So y'all tell me now you got multiple things to deal with, right? Now y'all got to prove to me if Arzareth is in the Middle East, what part of Arzareth in the Middle East did it take a year and a half for them to travel through?
No, we don't know that. The Most High did that. That's what they like to say.
He just made them extra slow for no reason. What they couldn't decide where to settle?
Nah, they're gonna
find out where nobody was dwelling at. Is that what they're gonna say? It took them a year and a half to find nobody in the land. You know what I'm saying? So they had to go and scavenge for something that was free and just to themselves. They had to find another Israel. Bruh, when we got Israel, it wasn't even inhabited. We read Deuteronomy 7 earlier. We had to kick people out of Israel.
That's right.
If the land that the Most High gave us wasn't uninhabited, and it's the chosen pit, you think somewhere else in the Middle East is going to be uninhabited? The Middle East that's known as East Africa, where even the white man knows that the first human beings are from?
That's right. And then Mesopotamia on the other side?
Mesopotamia right there.
Very fertile land.
That's right.
Euphrates and Tigris River, that's very
That's right. If anything, you got people on top of people in that region.
Bro, they literally had a Tower of Babel where people was on top of each other in that region.
That's right.
So yeah. I'm not sleepy watching YouTube. But probably. But yeah, that's what we gotta understand there, right? So now that we got that clear. No, I'm straight things. I got it. But now that we got that clear, let's go back to the slides to prove that they was in captivity just like Judah was. And we'll be up out of here. I mean, this is it's real simple, man. I don't know how how we even came to this conclusion that the Northern Kingdom can't be Israel, right? Well, maybe it's the brothers that say, well, they didn't go through none of the curses. So let's go ahead and debunk that, right? Where was we at before? Let me see. All right. So we read Judah, Ephraim. Did we get Deuteronomy 28:68?
Nah, not yet.
All right. So I guess y'all could just take turns. One read the slide, the other one read the slide. So who want to read this one?
I can read it.
Go ahead.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
Jonathan, you got the next
one. Deuteronomy 28:68. First bulletin. By the time of King Philip's War, 1675 to 1676, the colonists were well accustomed to sending of Indian captives out of the country.
Oh, wait, what?
Accustomed to sending of Indian captives out of the country.
No. When no Indians ever sent out the country? What you talking about?
Sending of Indian captives out of the country.
So let me ask y'all a question, right? If Indian captives got sent out the country, how was they getting sent out the country in 1675 and 1676? Was they getting flown out the country? Or was they getting put on slave ships?
Mm-hmm.
That's a cut right there.
That's one thing for Deuteronomy 28:68. Let's keep reading on that.
And to the use of them in their homes. The policy followed toward the Indians' capture in this war was the same as that shown in the Puget War.
Yeah, Peacock. Slacky.
Peacock.
So for those of you guys that might be like, this name Peacock sound familiar or look familiar at least, these are the same Indians that are known as the Patuit Indians, right? Who we read about every year on Thanksgiving as Israelites. Because these are the people who taught the white man and the pilgrims how to farm and, make the corn and all that type of stuff, grow the potatoes, and then they got burnt, and then it was called Thanksgiving after their land was taken over, and they were kicking their heads like soccer balls all through the fields and stuff, right? It's these people. And it's telling you that the things that were happening to these Indians in 1675 and 76 was as the things that happened to the Pequots during the Pequot War. Meaning this ain't the first time it happened in 1675 and 1676. Mind you, also, 1675, 1676, you Negroes are already here. So why, if you're not the same people, are they selling Indians out of the country when they already have slaves? If the Indians didn't serve as slaves, they have y'all here already. Why at the same time are they still shipping Indians out the country while they're shipping you guys in the country?
Salakia Adawan.
Go ahead.
Real quick source from a book called New Voyages to Carolina, Reinterpreting North Carolina History. All right. And this is on page 70. It says, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are familiar with the port of Charleston in South Carolina. I'm actually from South Carolina. It says, prior to 1717, more Indian slaves were exported from the docks of Charleston than black slaves were imported. So if you saying that the Native American Indians, man, if you saying that they don't fit these curses, then technically you got to take the Negroes out too, man.
Yeah, you do. Because the thing is, we're going to read, a lot of you Negroes is actually Indians.
That's right.
Let's go. Continue reading that.
In the orange. The captives were either exported for sale in the European or West Indian slave markets, or were retained in servitude in the colonies. In the beginning of the war, Captain Mosley captured 80 Indians who were restrained in Plymouth.
Yeah, in Plymouth. So y'all heard of Plymouth Rock, right? Plymouth Rock was called Plymouth Rock because they was retaining the Indians there, the 10 tribes. Before the Negroes was getting sent to Plymouth to do slave work, it was your Northern Kingdom counterparts, right? This is one captain with 80 Indians. You know how many captains there was in Plymouth? It's called Plymouth Rock. They have a nickname for it. So many Edomites was living there.
That's crazy.
One captain got 80 of them. His under soldiers and everything probably got some. The sergeants got some. The generals got some. The presidents got some. He's a captain with 80. Like Israel, a captain of 80. He got 80 Indians, Indian slaves, 80 slaves.
That's right.
Guess what he got? Right? Keep reading.
In the following September, 178 were put on board a vessel commanded by Captain Spargu, who sailed from Plymouth with them from Spain.
Wow. So for those of you who don't know, Plymouth is in Virginia. These natives, who y'all claim aren't Israelites, are being put on a ship and being sold across the waters to a land far from the land that they think is their own, to Spain. The same time that you Negroes are being shipped from West Africa, which you thought was your home, to the Americas. How is that not the same situation?
That's right. By the same people.
By the same people. Your enemies. Keep reading.
In this same year, 1675, Indians, probably from the coast of Maine, were landed as slaves at Fayal, one of the Azores. Azores.
I ain't actually look up where the Azores are, but the brother put Azores in the slide. I'm gonna show it to y'all in a minute when it pop up. But the natives were actually sent to the Azores Islands, which I believe are somewhere around the coast of Africa, West Africa at that. So it's natives, right, in West Africa right now because they were sold there in 1675. And they're not Israelites. They're being displaced in a land that's far from their own, right? Even if you believe these were the people here when Cain was here, these aren't the Israelites, they're Canaanites. Okay, well, tell me why these Canaanites are being put on ships and put into slavery the same way that the Israelites were being put on ships and put into slavery. Isn't it a thing that as Israelites say, where we the only ones that was put in that type of slavery, who was the only ones put in that type of servitude? That's how we know that our spirits only can bear witness to that.
That's right.
So why is it happening to them and they're not Israelites? Keep reading. What's the source?
Source: Indian slavery in colonies, times within present limits of the United States.
Yep. So Indian slavery in colonial times, right? That's what this is. This is literally telling you about slavery in the times of the colonies. This book was written in 1880. 1880.
That's right.
They're telling you about Israelites being taken into slavery from the 1600s. Next slide. Transportation of slaves. Go ahead, Jonathan, read this one.
Again, in 1675, 15 Indians were captured and sent to Boston.
Right. Okay. Well, 15, that's insignificant, right? That's going to be the next thing they say after I read these slides. It's all small numbers, insignificant numbers. Wait till the next slide. Go ahead. Keep reading that.
15 Indians were captured and sent to Boston, tied neck to neck like galley slaves. Neck to neck.
Oh, my goodness.
Like galley slaves.
Oh, weren't the galley slaves the same slaves with the yokes of iron on their neck that the Bible talks about in Deuteronomy? Did they just say that these native Indians that y'all claim aren't Israelites were tied just like the galley slaves? Don't we say as Negroes that Because I see all the camps say it. We the only ones that was put in that slavery where they tied us around our necks with the yokes of iron. Didn't they just say they did it to the Indians too? So wouldn't that make them Israelites? Keep reading.
All were finally acquitted. Oh, Salakia. Much against the will of the populace, were given trail. All were finally acquitted except 2 were sentenced to be sold out of the country as slaves. During the years 1675 and 1676, one finds mention of a sale of Indians in Plymouth in groups of about 100.
Huh.
57.
Groups of about 100, right?
Mhm.
Meaning multiple, not 100, but groups. And it don't tell you how many groups. This could be thousands of brothers.
That's right.
Well, it's gonna get more into that. We're gonna keep going. Keep going.
In groups of about 100, 57, 3, 160, 10, and 1.
Right? These are
From
the
June,
different type of groups that they would have you in. How you have a group of one, I don't know.
yeah, that don't make
That
sense.
means 2 people.
Or maybe they dealing with the numbers that they was commonly sold in. So 1 at a time, 10 at a time. Or,
Okay. All right.
yeah, that's
So something like that, right? But
from June. Con.
hold up, hold up. You're going out. You're going out.
All right.
The server messing up.
Con.
It's skipping on you. Wi-Fi tripping. I think it's straight now. Go ahead.
All right, con. From June 25th, 1675 to September 23rd, 1676, the record showed the sale by the colonial authorities of 188 Indians.
Right. So,
In Massachusetts,
Slacky. So, in the record shown,
con.
right, Plymouth colonial authorities of 188 Indians, right, of just this day, September 23rd, 1676. Right. This is what it is. This is the records. Oh, okay. The records from June 25th to 20 to the 23rd. So a little over a year. And they're saying in this area of Plymouth, it was 188 Indians. Mind you, they already have Negroes here. So this is them still transporting 188 Indians to a place while they have boatloads of Negro slaves from the Southern Kingdom coming in daily or weekly or whatever it is, right? Every month, something like that. They got them on a time clock coming in at a certain time. They still sending brothers out though, right? So they're still going through the same curses, even while you guys are here. Go ahead.
In Massachusetts Bay Colony, a similar disposal of captives was accomplished. On one occasion, about 200 were transported and sold.
On one occasion, 200 were transported and sold. Just one occasion. While the Negroes from the Southern Kingdom are already here serving slavery. Go ahead.
There is extant a paper written by Daniel Gookin in 1676, one item of which is as follows: a list of the Indian children that came in with John of Pacatuge.
Mm-hmm.
A list shows 21 boys and 11 girls distributed throughout the colony.
Right. Go ahead and read that source.
Source: Indian slavery in colonial times within the present limits of the United States.
This is a book that I advise everybody on this call to get. It's the best book on the planet if you're trying to prove that the Northern Kingdom is in fact the Hispanics and Native Americans. Because this dude, Almon Wheeler, Lauber, whatever his name is, the man know what he's talking about. I don't know if he Edomite or if he Jake or whatever, but whatever it is, he got all the right information. Because he did extensive work on this and was trying to find out who was who, what was what, and what type of slavery the Indians were going through. And he's writing this in 1880, so most likely he's an Edomite.
Yeah.
Doing extensive research to find out who's who, what's what, what's going on here, so that the Edomites would have records of their own. But if you want to hide something from a nigga, put it in a book, right?
Every time.
That's why the brothers ain't found this information, because y'all didn't look for it. All I did was watch a video. I didn't have to look for none of this stuff myself. Another brother did it. All I had to do was go back and check to see if the stuff he was saying was factual.
That's right.
Right? It's that easy. It's 2020. There's no history that you're gonna find on your own that you just found and nobody else found it. Your job is to see whether the facts that this person found are actual facts or not, or if well, facts or not. You're fact checking, like the brother Araya just said, right?
Come.
So we're supposed to be fact checking this stuff. If we're not fact checking it, then you're just believing whatever you want to believe. You're believing whatever fits your ideology, which is what the Negro only brothers have done. They want all the Israelites to look like Hamashiach Yahushua. And even in the time of Moses, we were mixing with other people, which means not all of us, even during the time of Moses, didn't look like Hamashiach Yahushua.
That's right.
We proved that in Ezra and Nehemiah, because both of them got on the Israelites for being with foreign women. Even not even being able to speak their own language, the foreign women were doing such atrocities to them. He didn't say these people weren't Israelites. He was still calling them the children of Israel. So that's a cut for you people that think that the Mamzers are people of a foreign bloodline or whatever. People with a heathen mother. Because y'all have to understand that Strong's only put that definition inside of the Strong's for Mamzer, right in front of incest, baby. Because that's the doctrine they had to come up with to stop Edomites from having sex with each other in the Judaism community. Because that's the thing they do. Incest is very prevalent in the Edomite community. So to allow them to keep their false heritage as the Jewish people, they had to put in a book that you're not allowed to, have mamzers, so that it's not a whole bunch of Drakes running around here. Because if you ain't realized, it's a whole lot of Amalekite women that like Judah and have kids with them, and their kids have become prominent people. It's a singer out right now that got a scandal going on. Her dad's an Edomite, Amalekite. Her mom is Judah. I forget what her name is. She's a singer. She got something going on right now in the news and stuff, media. But and then there's Drake, like people like him. They didn't want that type of stuff going on, so they put that type of definition out there for mamzer. That the mamzer is a foreign person or a person that's made through a relationship with a foreign woman, a bastard, right? So this is where this whole doctrine comes from. They don't want to believe that the Native Americans are Hispanics because they know that some of them were mixed with white women. Right? The ones that's mixed with white men ain't the one we talking about. Yeah, Mariah Carey, people like her, right? They're saying Mariah Carey will be a mamzer. There you go, Doja Cat. The water, Rick. Doja Cat is an Edomite, right? And y'all see the type of problem she had. So this is stuff that we have to keep in mind. This stuff we got to think about, right? But let me bring up the next slide.
It's Salakia too.
Go ahead.
With that Mamzer thing, right?
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so same thing. Yeah. LMA is 1-2. LMA is 1-2. Right. So so Doja Cat, yeah. Y'all right. She's not Jake at all. Her pops is Kush and her mom is Elon. But y'all see the type of stuff that she with, right? And I think LMA, I believe she is the same thing. Not as Doja Cat, but she's like a Drake. She got an Elamite pops and Jake mom or vice versa. Yeah, $5 Indians are most definitely Caucasians. Like the leader of the Cherokee tribe right now is a white guy. He's no way, shape, or form Jake. He even got red nose. He looks like Joe Biden's cousin.
Yeah.
Like real stuff. For real. But go ahead. Somebody read that. Slave ships.
Slave ships. With the close of the war after Philip's death, Many Indian chiefs were executed at Boston, and Plymouth.
Mm. Dang, there's a scripture. I forgot to write it down. Talks about you and the king that you set over you will go into captivity. That's in Deuteronomy, ain't it?
Yeah,
Deuteronomy 28, 36 or
it's
something. 32, one of them. Somebody find that for me.
Con.
either
It's
32 or 30.
Deuteronomy 28 and 30 something. Let me see.
36.
36. Yeah, read that.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 36.
Mm-hmm.
The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy father have known.
Right. So listen to this carefully. Most High in Deuteronomy 28, 36. Deuteronomy 28 being the chapter. In fact, while you in here, read verse 45 for me, please.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed,
Till thou be destroyed. Right? Go ahead.
because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee,
Uh-huh.
command thee,
Keep going.
and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder,
Hmm.
and upon thy seed forever.
So these curses are supposed to be a sign and a wonder upon our seed forever, right? But he
Con.
just read to you in verse 36 that the king that you set over thee, right, and you will be given into another nation, which your fathers have not known, and you're going to serve wood and stone. Now, Jonathan, read slave ships for me. Read that first bulletin for me one more time.
With the close of the war after the Philip's death, many of the Indian chiefs were executed at Boston and Plymouth,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the remaining chiefs with their captives followers were sold
Wow.
and shipped
Wow,
off
wow.
as slaves.
Hold on. So most of the remaining chiefs with their captive followers, right? I.e.,
Right.
Deuteronomy 28, 36 says, Ye shall bring thee and thy king with which thou shalt set over thee. If anybody knows anything about natives and the Aztecs and the Mayans, how they used to choose their chief, they used to vote kind of like we would, right? It'd be somebody that's of good standing in the community with the people. They have a vote. This person would be the chief, whether it's a war chief, medicine chief, whatever. But he would get to be a leader in the community. He get to put on the war bonnet, and he's a chief. That's how it go, right? The war bonnet was the crown, signifying that he's the king that the people put over them. So this is what people got to understand, right? Most of these chiefs with their captive followers were sold and shipped off as slaves outside the colonies. Right? Read the
Con.
places they were shipped to, Art.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Read the places they were shipped to. Read after the red.
Con. Those transported were carried to various parts. The,
Various
Span-
places. Uh-huh.
the Spanish West Indies,
Uh-huh.
Spain,
Right.
Portugal,
Right.
Bermuda,
Uh-huh.
Virginia, and
Right.
the Azores.
Okay, so for those of you that don't know, Spanish West Indies is not the West Indies we have here. Spain and Portugal is not on the west side of the world. Bermuda is not on the west side of the world. Virginia is, and the Azores is by Africa. Is this not scattered to the four corners of the earth? If it's not, then what is?
That's right.
So can one of you Torah Knights explain to me how, if these people were scattered through the four corners of the earth by way of slave ship from Plymouth, Virginia to the West Indies of Spain, Portugal, Bermuda, Virginia, and Africa, how are they not Israelites? Moving on. Prophecy of the Indian slave trade. Have y'all ever heard the term that the devil knows the Bible too?
I've heard that.
Me too. I heard when I was in church, actually. The devil actually told me that. The devil knows the Bible, and he was the devil. It was crazy. But proof that the devil knows the Bible is that the devil knew that the Israelites would have to go into slavery on ships into Egypt. Mind you, the white man knows what Egypt is because it's their word. It's a Greek word that means house of bondage, right?
That's right.
It's their word. So, one of y'all read this and keep all that in mind that I just said. Go ahead.
Prophecy of the Indian slave trade. Drake's note in Hubbard, 2 page 94. These Indians did not sell well abroad. In the one instance, whom no immediate market could be found, a number of them were left in a slave market in Algiers.
You know why a number of them couldn't sell?
Hmm.
Because they're still trying to sell these light-skinned Indians when the white man thinks that you got to be darker, the blacker the berry, the harder they work. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That's the way the white man used to think. So they start receiving these black slaves from Africa. They see how hard they work, how well they do in the sun. And then when they start getting these new ships of the Indians from America, they're like, we don't want these niggas. These are the fake niggas. We want the real ones. Give us these ones. You know what I'm saying? So they weren't selling well. So they just started leaving them places. They would ship them and just leave them somewhere. And that was a whole bunch of scattered Indians and Hispanics everywhere because they were just getting shipped and left. Go ahead.
I said that's crazy.
You see what I'm saying? Algiers, yo. That's Algeria.
Mm-hmm.
That's where French Montana ancestors from. Huh? Yeah, French is not one of us. For those of you that didn't know, French is Algier. He's an Ishmaelite, Edomite, one of them. He's a heathen. So, read on.
Massachusetts Historical Society Collection Series 1, page 183 of this incident. Cotton Mather said, moreover, 'tis prophecy in Deuteronomy 28:68.
Tis prophecy, right? Why does this white man, Cotton Mather, know what prophecies in the Bible? Because the devil knows the Bible too. Keep reading up.
The Lord shall bring you into Egypt again with ships.
And he even took the word into his mouth as a heathen. He's telling you the prophecy he knows so well. Go ahead.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt not see it, so thou shalt not see it no more again.
So check this out. There were Edomites that knew as they were taking us from Africa, as they were taking us from America and putting us in slavery, they knew we would not be going back to our homeland again till this prophecy was fulfilled.
They know they're the damn devil.
That's how confident they were. Oh, these are the Israelites. Columbus told us that. They made them with the Shema. We could put these niggas in slavery. You know why? Because it's prophecy. 'Tis prophecy, moreover, in Deuteronomy 28:68. That's how they used to talk about us. Why do you think they were so happy or confident knowing that they could put us in slavery and nothing was going to happen to them?
That's
the
right.
devil knows the Bible too. Keep reading.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
Good precept. All right. They opened up the book of the law and they learned it. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's right.
This did our Eloto imagine were sent to be sold in the coast lying not far from the coast of Egypt and on the Mediterranean Sea, and scarce any chapman would offer to take them.
You see that? We'll leave y'all in Egypt. Oh, we'll leave y'all married. Oh, Mediterranean. Oh, we're just gonna leave y'all wherever anybody wants y'all. Whoever wants y'all to take, we're gonna sell you to the highest bidder. Cause y'all just not selling well. We can't do nothing with y'all here. But it is prophecy that you're gonna be sold on ships to Egypt, and we know Egypt is anywhere there's a house of bondage because the white man made the word. They know what the word means. So we could just sell them anywhere. Anywhere that wants to take them, we're going to sell them. Right? Inuits kidnapped. Just read the red. You ain't got to read the whole thing.
Con. As discussed, there is strong evidence for Inuits from Greenland being kidnapped or otherwise carried to Norway long before 1492.
So for those of you guys that don't know, you've heard of the name Inuits before, I'm pretty sure, but the Inuits are the Native Americans from Canada, right? Nowadays they're called First Nationers, which is the more I guess
Politically acceptable.
yeah, the more acceptable term even for me because we're not native to this land. We're just the first persons to live here, right? So
Con,
First
con.
Nationers would be actually very accurate. So the water Canada for that. But so it says, as discussed, there's a strong evidence from Inuits from Greenland. By the way, that's a cut. I just missed that. I didn't even think about that. Canadians, as I should say, think that the Bering Strait is a real thing, right? America teaches the Bering Strait is a real thing, but Canada calls the Indians that live there First Nationers, as in they know they're not from Canada.
That's right. That's interesting.
So, wanted to put that out there. All right. So, as it says, as discussed, there is a strong evidence from Inuits from Greenland being kidnapped and otherwise carried to Norway long before 1492. Now, they're being kidnapped and taken to Norway, which I don't know no Israelite that lives there. but but this is long before 1492. We know it was Edomites living in the snow in 1492, right? Long before 1492, they was so deep in the snow, they was just coming out the caves. And they're telling you Vikings from Norway were coming to the Americas and kidnapping Inuits. How would they have to take these people back to Norway? Would they be flying them to Norway? Or would this be another case of Deuteronomy 28:68 slapping them right in the face?
That's right.
Okay, just making sure. This is from the book American Discovery of Europe, right? Jack Forbes, page 178. I know y'all heard of Jack Forbes before. So, million slaves transported. Here's the big kicker, right? Because up to this point, y'all was, they sold millions of Negroes, you know what I'm saying? You didn't show me the most they sold the Indians was 188 of them. So read this. When do y'all read that?
Con.
First.
Million slaves transported. My last observation on the savagery of these brutes is this. Over
They're calling them brutes and savages, but
yeah,
they're
they
kidnapping
wild.
and transporting these people,
Yeah,
cutting
they
their heads
wild.
off and kicking their heads through the snow for Thanksgiving, stuffing their bodies with bread and cranberries and stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's what the turkey represents for Thanksgiving. We'll talk about that on Thanksgiving. But keep reading.
Over the 16 years since first they arrived in the region, they have since shipload after shipload of natives.
Oh,
Or
what?
slack,
Wait, hold up. We gotta read that again. They ship just little tiny ding dings, little
they
ring boats.
they have sent shipload after shipload of natives.
Oh wow. Shipload after shipload, right? That means they was stacking natives on ships just like they was the Negroes.
That's right.
They was being stacked on sardines. I mean, like sardines too on the same ships.
Con.
Well, y'all thought they made new ships for y'all? No. They had the Ishmaelites make the ships. They had the Jewish people insure the ships. And then they went and tested them out with Columbus and Amerigo Vespucci's people for the natives. And once they realized they worked, they used the same boats to go get you niggas from West Africa. Hello? Keep reading.
Con. For
I'm
sale
giving
in
them
Santa
information that they never seen before. This is good. Go ahead.
for sale in Santa Marta or on the islands of Hispaniola, Jamaica, and Puerto Rico. In all, they must dispatch more than 1 million of them.
Woo! So just tell you they dispatched more than 1 million of them.
Hey, Salakia Adawan, that's big anyway, because only the estimates show that only like 600,000 slaves even came into America, and
Hey,
they
y'all chill out in the chat room. Don't be fighting each other. Just pay attention to the lesson. It's like, yeah.
Nah, you good. But yeah, the estimates show that they only ship, or let's not even say ship, but only 600,000 of them made it to America.
Mm.
Between 400 to 600,000 so-called African slaves made it to America, but you got a million of these Indians being shipped out. What? Yeah, that's wild.
That's crazy. That doesn't even make sense.
That's wild.
He gotta go outside again.
Yeah, that don't make no sense. They shipped out a whole bunch of people and then brought in some more people, and yeah, they don't know what they're doing.
But look, this is the Americas, right? Check out what happened to just Brazil. Go ahead, one of y'all.
Hold on. Let me fix my screen. Okay, come. Brazilian traffic. The enslavement of Brazilian was a continuing process in both the South and the Amazonian region between 1630 and 1650 alone. 100,000 to 200,000 Americans from the Paraguay region were captured and sold to various places. Slovakia. As late as circa 1710, the Portuguese of the Pinayu region were traded away 3 of 4 Americans for 1 of African from Angola. That's crazy.
Salaki, right quick. Hold on, Salaki. You know Daniel Pereira? You're right. Brothers do be rewriting history. The brothers that try to tell you that the Israelites can only be Negroes, and that the Native Americans and stuff and the 10 tribes never traveled through the water, and they only went to they spent a year and a half walking through the Middle East. That only take 5 months to walk through if you walk in a wheelchair with a walker. Like, come on, bro. They're the people that be rewriting history.
Come.
What do you mean not in the Amazonian region? Yeah, there's no sea in the parts of Brazil, which is why they were taking. Look, bro, read this again. Read this again.
From the top?
Yeah. No. Just read from the red. Just read from the red. Because look, what he's trying to say is the enslavement of Brazilians was a continuing process in both the South and the Amazonian regions. This is not one. This is a book with a source on it. It's not a brother that wrote it, first of all. This is Jack Forbes, a world-renowned historian with many books, many facts, many sources. He's telling you this is what's happening in the Brazilian region. Here, I'll read it. Between 1630 and 1650 alone, 100,000 to 200,000 Americans from Paraguay region, which is in South America, were captured and sold to various places, right? So there is sea all around Brazil, if you've ever looked at it, right? Or the continent of South America, rather, right? Which Brazil is in. Shalom. Which Brazil is in. So what you got to understand is this: they were shipping them, right? In fact, let's look at Brazil. Let's look at Brazil. Map of Brazil. Hold on a second.
That's absolutely right.
Let me put this up so we could look at some stuff. Because brothers be thinking I'm stupid, and I promise you I'm not. Joel has taught us to look into everything before we come and make a video on it. And I promise you ain't nothing on this topic that I haven't looked into. Look at Brazil, my friend.
You gotta
Do you see how big Brazil is? Do you see that it goes all the way to the coast of South America, which means that there's water ports in Brazil?
You gotta share the screen, I want.
Oh, I'm tripping. Salaki. My bad. Let me show you, Daniel. Let me show you. Brazil map, right? Don't matter what map of Brazil you look at. If you look at this one where Brazil is this big, there's still a slave port right there. If you look at the real map of Brazil, which shows how big it is, there's multiple slave ports that they could have took the people to and from. You understand? There's water all around Brazil. This is the old map of what Brazil would have looked like during the time of the colonization. More cities have been added. This is a map with the type of cities that they have now, right? They got Baja, Bolivia, all that stuff. But it's if you go diagonal to Pará, you have this, whatever city this is right here. I can't see it because it's too small. But whatever this is, it's a slave port. It's on the coast. It's got a dock where boats from the North Atlantic Ocean can park right here and bring their brothers and sisters right in. So what are you talking about? I can't understand what you're saying.
I don't know what that's saying.
I don't know what he's trying to say. That's right. A mamzer is a person born of incest. Let me put that on the screen. Tell them where you got your information from. That blue is in U.S. East. Okay, but what I'm trying to look, bro. Look at what I'm saying. Look at what I'm saying. Don't matter what map you look at of Brazil, this is a map of Brazil. So either you don't know what the hell Brazil look like or what. But it don't matter what map I look at, there's water touching Brazil somewhere. Where's Brazil at on here?
That's right.
Oh,
And
this whole lit up area here, right? Because I see Paraguay, Bolivia, Peru, all that stuff. So they're trying to say Brazil is all of this, and it's water all through here. So what are you talking about?
hey, Salaki, a quick note. Where was they taking? What did that slide say again? Did the slide say that it was
Look at this, Brazil. Brazil is all of this area. I don't know what they're teaching people in South America or Central America or Mexico or whatever, but this is Brazil. Brasilia is the dang capital. It's right here.
That's right.
There's ports all around here, docks all around here where you can import and export slaves. Somebody said something?
Con. No, I was just gonna add that. What did the slide say? Did the slide say about importing or exporting?
Hold on. He said on the left, Brazil has no slave ports. We're not talking about the left though. Europe is from the west. I mean, Europe is from the east. So they're going to be coming from where the water is, Ak.
That's what I was about to say.
We're coming from this way. If you look at the map, here, let me show you the map again, because maybe you wasn't here for that. Let me pull this up. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
One of y'all was saying something while I put this up?
Con, I was just saying that where you think these people coming from to get these slaves or to transport these slaves? They're not walking with 1 million slaves, man.
Yeah, come. That'll be
They're not. That don't even make no sense.
This is Columbus map. This right here is Brasilia, right? This is Brazil right here, Brasilia. This is Brazil, right? There's a boat right here to show you this is the exact dock that they used for the Brazilians. Right here in your face, right? They wasn't coming from here. You don't see not one boat on the left side of the water because this isn't where they was coming from. You see one here to get you up here when they're coming from Asia, right? You see the boats way over here. This is from Asia. Asia's on this side. Asia's close to where the Hawaiian Islands and everything like that is, right? So if they're coming from this way, they could use this way to get to Hawaii, which is how we know that we have Israelites in Hawaii, the so-called Polynesians, right? Because they were put in the same type of captivity that the Northern Kingdom was put into. But I'm saying the ships didn't come from this way to mess with the Brazilians. They came right here and docked right in Brazil.
He said something about the Amazonia.
Oh, yeah, Khan. I'm not saying nothing about the Amazonian name. No. I ain't talking about that. I'm just trying to point out that, yeah. See, okay, I feel what you're saying. I'm not the one who wrote the notes there. There was the guy in the book who put the Amazon region there. That ain't what these ain't my notes. That's what I'm trying to say. This comes from a book. So you don't gotta call that the Amazon region. Yeah. I mentioned Amazon because it's in the thing. Look at what I'm saying. Yeah, okay, I feel what he's saying. He's trying to say that Brasilia is not the Amazon region. Let me show you the notes again. All right. You misunderstanding what I'm saying. Which note was I on just now? Let me see.
I think it was the Brazilian slave.
Zillion, yeah, okay, con. All right, let me pull this up. All right, look. It says. We're talking. Okay, yeah. Look, the enslavement of Brazilians was a continued process in both the South and the Amazonian region. It's not trying to say that the Brazilian region is the Amazonian region. It's saying in both the South and the Amazonian region. It's saying that the enslavement of Brazilians was happening in Amazon and in Brazil. That's what it's trying to say. It's not saying that these are the same two places. If that was confusing, and regardless of the fact this is in my notes. It's coming from a Edomite, Jack Forbes. I didn't write this stuff. I'm just trying to show that even Edomites know that the Northern Kingdom went into slavery by ships. They could come by the way of the state of Bahia or whatever, but what I'm trying to say is that that's fine. But what I'm trying to say is that there were still Israelites from Brazil that were put in captivity, whether they were from Bahia or from somewhere else, right? It's not trying to say that they were taken from anywhere else. It's saying these people are from Brazil. Isn't Bahia in Brazil or in South America somewhere? Let me make sure.
I believe it is.
I probably just saw it on the map. Bahia. Look, Bahia, Brazil. It's in Brazil. You understand what I'm saying? So that still feeds into my point. If the first slaves are from Bahia, that still means that they're from Brazil, which means that this slide is not lying, correct? Would y'all agree? Because it's talking about Brazilian traffic. So if Bahia is in Brazil, then that means that the Bahia, the first slaves coming from the east coast of Brazil. This isn't talking that the first slave. Nowhere in here does it say that the first slaves in Brazil come from a place that's not Bahia. It doesn't say that. It's just giving you a number, 1630 to 1650. You know damn well that there were slaves in Brazil before the 1600s.
Hmm.
So come on, don't try me like that. We on the same page. We on the same page. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. So native Indian presence in various places. Let me zoom in so y'all can see this. Can y'all read that? Or do I need to zoom in another time?
Con, you changed the
Before we read
page.
that, hey, before we read, I gotta get off this bad boy out of one.
Oh, go ahead.
Gotta do
You
some work in the
gotta go
morning.
work in the morning. The water for the help.
Come. Hey, y'all brothers be
Con.
safe, man. Hey, shalom to everybody in the chat. Y'all about Shem y'all Shabbat
How about Shim? How about Shabbat?
Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah.
Shalom.
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 Con. We almost done. We ain't got
Con,
that much.
con. Hey, I think you changed the page when you made it bigger.
Oh, really? Hold on. Yeah, I did.
Con. There we go. All right, so native Indian presence in various places. We can document their presence in cities such as Valencia, Sevilla, and Lisbon, especially, but it is more difficult to know how many were resold to Baltic and other sections of Europe. I believe that we can be sure that Americans were traded widely in the Mediterranean region, not only in areas possessed at times by Spain, such as Italy and locations in North Africa, but also wherever Spanish, Portuguese, Genoese,
Yeah.
Tuscan, and Venetian merchants piled their commerce.
So these are all different types of Edomites,
That's
basically.
right.
All these different Edomites were using the native Indians as slaves throughout the Mediterranean region, places that they didn't even run. This is Alexander the Greek Freak's land, the Mediterranean region,
Come on.
aka the Middle East. So they're selling these Indians through the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all are saying that Arzareth is in the Middle East, but they're being sold in their own land after being taken there on slave ship. That don't make sense.
That's right.
Just read the red parts.
Come on. Part of the North African, Middle Eastern, Ottoman captive trade. Well, hold on. Let me read the whole sentence there. It says, but since many or all Americans would have been classified as non-Christians, they might have fallen into the hands of Iberian, Jewish, and Muslim merchants and become part of the North African, Middle Eastern, Ottoman captive trade.
You see that? So y'all talk about a lot of brothers talk about the Middle Eastern slave trade, right? The Ishmaelite slave trade, and don't even acknowledge the fact that the Indians, the so-called Native Americans and Hispanics, were put in the Indian slave trade as well,
Damn.
and they were even in Babylon when the Southern Kingdom was in Babylon being put over there, right? So they went through a totally different Middle Eastern slave trade with Ishmael and the Ottoman Turks at the same time.
That's right.
Go ahead and read that other red sentence. Started
God.
like started Antwerp.
All right. Antwerp figures in the lives of Sir Thomas More, author of Utopia, and other pre-Enlightenment figures. The period from 1493 into the early 1500s would most likely be the period of the heaviest shipment of Americans to Spain.
Why does it say Americans? Because if you guys don't know, the etymology of the word American was a word that was given to the Israelites or the people that originally inhabited the Americas. White folks didn't used to call themselves Americans. That's a new thing. They used to
That's
call
right.
us the Americans when they weren't calling us Negroes. So let's move on. So I actually want to get into that. History of Spain slaves. We can get into that when I go through the 12 tribes chart, colonial slave. Yeah, let's read that. I'll read this. In New England, after the Indian Wars, the prices were low for the chief object of the government the chief object of the government was to get rid of the captives. As you read in the other slide, it was hard to sell the Northern Kingdom slaves because of the Southern Kingdom slaves being sold in these same regions and doing better work. So, um, Northern Kingdom slaves were they were having trouble selling as captives. The English colonists followed the Spanish customs of reducing the Indians to a condition of slavery, but neither the English colonists nor the English government heeded the example of the later policy of the Spanish government in looking upon the Indian slavery as unjust and declaring it illegal. So some parts of the English government used to look at the Indian slavery as unjust and illegal because they were the people who ran the land and taught them how to survive and stuff. But the regular Edomites would think otherwise and still put them in slavery. So there
That's
was
right.
even a discord between Edomites on whether to treat the Indians like slaves or not to. And for the most part, they used to treat them like slaves. Um, I want to Georgia history. Let's get into this.
God.
Better read that, the red part.
All right. The early history of Indian slavery in Georgia is so bound up with that of Carolina, the Indian Wars, and the difficulties of the Spaniards of Florida as to require but little special attention. After the settlement of Georgia as a separate colony, occasional mention is made of Indian slaves.
Hold on, Salaki. What's singing and dancing, gaming, modeling? What's your problem with them, yo? What are they saying that got all y'all talking about them? I don't understand what's going on here. Singing, dancing, gaming, modeling. What's your problem with what we're bringing up? I'm confused. Y'all is talking about crazy stuff. I don't know what's going on. So like y'all, go ahead. When somebody reply, I'll know what's going on.
Khan, I'll just read that second sentence. After the settlement of Georgia as a separate colony, occasional mention is made of Indian slaves.
Hmm. So occasional
Uh,
mention is mentioned in Indian slaves after Georgia's been a colony, right? Mind you,
mhm.
they said they're supposed to stop Indian slavery alongside of American slave, or I mean Negro slaves, in 1776. So all of that was supposed to be deaded at this point. Go ahead.
Khan, but no division of slaves according to color was made. In certain sections, but few slaves were used.
hmm Read the Scottish Irish thing part all the way to the red part for a little bit.
All right. The
That's
Scottish, Irish, and the Germans preferred their own labor to that of slaves. Some Indians were taken in war, but they were inconsiderable when compared with the number captured in the Carolinas.
mm-hmm.
Occasional mention of the Indian slaves is found well into the 18th century. Indian slavery in Massachusetts began early, following the Pequot War, 1637, 48 captives were restrained or retained as slaves in the colony.
Right. And a big reason why it was such a scarce thing to talk about Indian slavery is because after the Pequot War, natives kind of started to catch on to the way that Esau was moving. Because I mean, we had years from 1492 to 1637 to find out how they was gonna move, right? So once we finally got it, after they destroyed all the Pequots and the Petuits, right? We basically um, started to band together. That's when we stopped all the native wars amongst each other and started kind of like trying to band together to save ourselves from the white man. That's when you see the Comanches starting to steal horses and sell the horses to other native bands. That's when you see the Indian versus Indian wars stop kind of and them start going against the colonists and the cavalry and all that type of stuff. All this happens around this time because this is when we're starting to realize, oh, this is how they about to move. They're gonna try to put us in captivity. This is what they're here for. They're not here to be our friends. You know what I'm saying? So took them a while to catch on, but eventually they got it. Kind of like what's going on right now with the riots in Judah, right?
That's right.
Now there's a generation of Southern Kingdom Israelites that are realizing protesting is not going to fix the situation.
That's
They
right.
just woke up one day and felt that way, right? It's the same thing that's going on here. No new thing under the sun. Go ahead, Op.
After King Philip's War, 1675, also certain of the captives were made slaves, but no record exists of the exact number.
Hmm.
The various records and histories of the Massachusetts towns show a general of Indian slaves throughout the colony throughout the colonial period, such as existed following the two Indian wars above noted.
Second Edra 654. Which land are you talking about? You talking about the land of Israel or this land? 'Cause this land they weren't really kicked out of it. They was either sold out or killed, or put in outskirts of the land, which is called reservations. Uh, but yeah, that would be the reason why the Most High did it at the first place, right? For us mixing with the heathen women, us taking on their idols and making them our idols. You know what I'm saying? And everything that had to do with idol worship. In Israel, yeah, same thing. Because in the book of Hosea, the Israelites were told not to mess with the northern kingdom anymore. You know what I'm saying? They weren't told to, they were just told to leave them alone because they were joined to idols. So that's why they got separated from the southern kingdom, which allowed them to go into captivity because they had no full army to protect them. Which once the northern kingdom left, because the northern kingdom encompassed the majority of the army, there was nobody to protect the southern kingdom when they went off, which is why both captivities happened, Assyria and Babylon.
That's right.
The kings were split, separated, no protection. You know what I'm saying? No full army, so the other people were able to do what they had to do. But that's all I wanted on this slide actually. So after this, it should be going into I want like two slides showing that the Negroes were Indians and Negro. This is monks. For those that don't know, the term for the Christian colonists was monks. So monks had Indians in captivity too. Um, Made them
Con.
do mission slavery, right? And certain things as far as the mission trips were concerned. If the missioners were here and they had a colony that they wanted to raise up or something like that, they would make the Indians work and graze the colony, grow the fruits, the vegetables, the land, all that type of stuff. Um, just to basically, you know, uh, make sure that they don't have to do the work. So they would have these Indians, slaves working for free on their land while pushing Jesus in the Bible and doing mission trips and stuff. How hypocritical is that? But that's what they were doing. So, hold on, penalty. No. Oh, okay. Let me go over this a little bit. So there was a penalty for harboring runaway slaves. Um, if let me read this. In Virginia, as a measure of protection of property rights upon the complaint of damages committed by Indians, the Assembly voted in 1660 that the plaintiff in the case be given the right, provided satisfaction were not made, to sell as many Indians out of the country as court may prescribe. Um, any offenders were punished by death and to be transported and sold as slaves. So what it's talking about is any offenders of you harboring runaway slaves. So a lot of the Negro only brothers would be like, well, if they're our brother, why didn't help us do slavery? The reason why was because we weren't allowed to help you through slavery. If the natives were caught helping you through slavery, they would either go into the same slavery with you and be back on the plantation like they was in actually this is 1772. So 1775, 1776 is when they stopped having the natives and Negroes work side by side on the plantation. They're still working side by side on the plantation in 1722. So they had the threat out there that if free Indians helped runaway slaves, they would go right back into captivity, right? With the possibility of being sold, right, shipped out of the country through the amounts that the court may prescribe. So if the court says that you could sell 100 million, you know, Indians out of the country for running or for harboring runaway slaves, they would try to stack 100 million of them on one ship and ship them on out of there. That was the punishment. So with that type of punishment, after you make the whole nation serve captivity for 200 years, then start allowing them to get free, the result is going to be a lot of them not wanting to help their own brothers because they don't want to go back into captivity.
That's right.
It's the same reason niggas don't bail niggas out of jail, right? You don't want to get put in the jail after trying to help a brother break out.
That's right.
It's the same thing. So moving on, black ambiguity. Read this red part for me.
Come.
Actually, start at the word black, Slovakia.
Okay. The word black may include all Negroes, but the term Negro does not include all black persons.
What does this mean? Go ahead.
Often the term Negro included the people of American Indian ancestry as well.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Keep reading.
Con. I got to comment on that when I'm done reading too.
Mm-hmm.
This certainly was the case in colonial and antebellum Virginia. In 1670, 40,000 people, including 2,000 black slaves, were reported as residents of the Virginia colony. However, the colony did not have that many Africans.
Wow. So now it's trying to tell you that there were Indians actually being confused with Negroes, not
That's
because
right.
of their look, but because of their title. You're gonna realize that because
Con.
regular niggas would read this and say, "Yeah, see, they're getting confused because they all had afros and woolly hair and brown skin." No, we're gonna explain why they got confused. Keep reading on.
Con. There was, however, a large number of Indians in the area, which likely comprised part of the population of the reported blacks.
So they were comprised of the population of reported blacks. Why is this? Oh, Indian Negro confusion. Read this, Doc.
Con. And there was the Indian Negro confusion. There were Negroes who were part Indian and who lived on reservations.
Hmm.
Indians who had children who lived in towns as Negroes, and
Hmm.
Negroes who were Indians,
Hmm.
and
Wow.
traveled back and forth between the groups with no trouble.
Wow. So I mean, Ralph Ellison is saying one day a brother might be like, "Hey, I'm gonna be an Indian today," and the next day he wake up and put his cowboy hat and his jeans on, and he's working for the cavalry because he's a Negro. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? And vice versa, because they was able to do that. Hey, why don't you go help me free this homeboy? You're gonna be an Indian for the day. You know what I'm saying? We gonna you know see what type of stuff they got going on, scout the reservation, and then you're gonna go back to being a Negro, and all the free brothers you got with you, y'all gonna come onto the reservation and we're gonna free them people, or come onto the plantation rather. We're gonna free the people
Con.
and turn it into a reservation. So now we're gonna be Negroes and Indians, and when the white man come to find out who's who, we're not gonna tell them. It's gonna be a confusion. Proof
That's right.
in the pudding. Read this.
That's right. You want me to read the red part or the entire thing?
Let me see. Those also. You kind of got to read this until the red part, and then you'll be done.
All right. Commonality within racial labels. They also share racial labels during the. That's what I was going to bring out. But they also share racial labels
I
during
know.
the antebellum period, as Virginia identified its non-white population with terms largely associated in contemporary American society with people of African descent, such as Negro, mulatto, colored, free Negro, free person of color, or black. It was not until 1870 that the category Indian was recognized and included on the federal census. Despite this, American Indians of whatever degree, full blood, half blood, or quarter blood, continues to be defined with the same racial labels as their African American counterparts.
Hmm. So, for those of y'all that are just retarded and can't understand what that's saying, it's literally telling you that the Negroes and the Indians were called by the same damn bywords.
That's right.
Isn't there a curse in Deuteronomy for that?
That's right.
You want to pull that
Deuteronomy,
for me, please?
Deuteronomy 28, verse 37. And
Yeah.
thou shalt become an astonishment, a
Uh-huh.
proverb,
Hmm.
and a byword
Oh,
among
wait.
all nations.
So it said thou, right?
Thou.
When it says and thou should become, is it talking about was Moses talking to all Israel or was he just talking to the southern kingdom?
He was talking to all Israel.
So, fuck you. That would mean that, you know, if these 10 tribes are wherever they are in the world, they have to be called by a byword, right?
That's right.
That's easily known as a byword for us to know as a sign and a wonder that these could be the Israelites because it's easy to tell that this byword that they're being called isn't actually what they are.
That's right.
So if Indian means savage and these people were teaching the pilgrims how to cook and farm and crying when they couldn't do it anymore, does that make them a savage?
La'ah.
If these people are, uh, all being called Negroes when them and the darker skinned people, neither one are black, would that not be a byword?
That's right.
So how is this not a sign and a wonder to who the 10 tribes are?
That's right.
Moving on.
And almost nobody even calls any of the Native American tribes by their original name.
Mm, ain't that some
Almost nobody, even to today.
prime
Yeah,
example?
that's wild.
Because a lot of you brothers probably like, what do you mean? They're called the Cherokee, they're called the Comanche, and the Blackfoot. Guess what? The Indians don't call Blackfoot Blackfoot. They say Seek
That's right.
Sikawa. The
That's right. They
Cherokees
got
don't
real
call themselves
names.
Cherokee. They say Aniwaya. The Comanche don't call themselves the enemies or Comanche. They call themselves Numunu Tekwaku. Why do we know those names?
That's right.
Because we know the bywords, right?
That's right.
Hmm. Interesting. Good point, Art. So, moving on. Negro de Terra. Read that red part for me.
Khan. Indians were called Negro de Terra, meaning Negroes of the land,
Oh,
and Africans were called Negro de Guinea,
meaning?
meaning blacks of Guinea.
Right. Now, for those of you that don't know, Guinea is in Africa. So they're trying to say there's two types of Negroes that make up the 12 tribes. Negroes from Africa and Negroes from the land of America, where they went to go inhabit. They meaning the white man. So they called the Indians Negroes and they called the black folk Negroes. Everybody's Negro, everybody going through the same byword.
That's
They're
right.
all a byword in astonishment.
That's right.
The Negroes of the land, the Negroes of Africa. One was put here in slavery because they were here already. The other one was shipped here. They're telling you what's what right in your face. This is from the Blood Stay Pure, Erica L. Coleman, page number 68. Telling you straight up, Negros de Terra, meaning Negroes of the land, Negro de Guinea,
That's right.
meaning blacks of Guinea, Papua New Guinea, Africa, West Coast. That's what that's talking about. Moving on. Native and Indian Negro treatment. The treatment of Indian slaves apparently differed in no essential degree from that of the Negroes.
That's right.
Do you know what that means, Art?
I mean, they went through the same thing.
That means that when the Negro got their behind whipped by the slave master, the Indian, which was also called a Negro, got their behind whipped by the slave master.
That's right.
When the Negro got their hand chopped off for trying to speak Hebrew to their brothers and sisters and had to create slave hymns, the other Negro with the long straight hair had to do the same thing for speaking Hebrew. They got their tongues cut off, their teeth bashed out their mouth, and their heads cut off.
That's right.
Y'all were forced. The Southern Kingdom Negroes were forced Christianity through slavery on the plantation. The Northern Kingdom Negro was forced slavery on a burning cross. The same burning cross that they used to burn the Southern Kingdom Negro on during the Jim Crow period when they would hang you in Alabama and Georgia and take pictures afterwards.
That's right.
Is that not the same plight that the Southern Kingdom and the Northern Kingdom are going through at the same time? In the land of the North, where Judah and Israel are supposed to be oppressed together and the enemy will not let them go?
That's right.
Are you serious? Y'all can't see this?
That's right.
I'm
Salaki, I don't want.
William Robber, 1880, page 250.
That's
Indian
right.
slavery in colonial times within the present limits of the United States. Go get the book, please.
Yeah, that
Stocks
book
on
got
Wall
mad.
Street. We know about Wall Street. We know about Donald Trump wanting the government to stay up because of the Wall Street and everything, right? From 1619 to 1880, they were selling Negroes, Indians, and mulattoes, which is a mix of Negroes and Indians together.
Mm-hmm.
Israel and Judah oppressed together from 1619 to 2020. In your face.
That's right.
Where's the rebuttal? Type it in the chat.
There are no.
Silence. Crickets. Right? Destruction of Indian ancestry. Right? Indians didn't lose their identity. They knew who they was. Okay. Why I can't find out what my great grandfather name was then? Nigga.
That's right. That's what I was gonna say. That's right.
Why I can't find out who my great grandmother is and where she was born?
That's right. And
Hmm?
many of them don't even know what year they was born.
Why do my mama's Haitian records go further on Ancestry.com than my daddy's Native American records do? Because from 1912 for the next 34 years, some cracker named Walter Plecker would be doing everything possible to make sure that the Negroes only can be classified as blacks. Which is why when I look back in my census of my grandfather from 1913 when he was born, which is a year after 1912 when this man took office, he's labeled as a Negro even though he was on the plantation. I mean, even though he was on the reservation,
That's right.
right?
That's right.
You know how many different Negroes this happened to? So that means that my great grandfather grew up thinking he was a Negro because the census said Negro. My grandfather in 54, after he graduated high school, well, my grandmother had to put Negro on their census before he went into the Vietnam War. After he leaves the Vietnam War, he's still classified as a Negro. But my grandma is getting paid by the state as a Cherokee Indian because of the amount of Indian blood she has in her, but she's classified as a Negro. Does this make any sense to y'all? It's right in your face. The Black and White World of Walter Ashby Pleckler, right? Warren Fisk. Y'all heard that name before. First
Time.
Slave Rebellion. What happened with the First Slave Rebellion, right? We talk about Haiti and their slave rebellion and everything, right? Why was the First Slave Rebellion happening in 1522 when the first Negro slave was only brought here in 1619? If the Northern Kingdom, aka the Hispanics, Native Americans, weren't put in slavery, they just had slaves, as you fake fopers like to freaking teach people. If you guys know that none of you Negroes was here till 1619, this 1522. Why is it the first slave rebellion? Who's rebelling if there's no slaves in 1522, you ducks? Let me read it. In 1522, Europeans in the Americas first learned that slavery did not easily lead to enormous wealth, right? Because they're thinking, oh, well, we gonna have these people, these damn niggas gonna be working in the fields for us. We ain't gotta do nothing. We gonna be wealthy. Wrong, because they wanted to fight back. On Christmas Day, hence the reason why, by the time you guys got here in 1619, they already knew how to handle things. because they already went through a Nat Turner type situation in 1522. Nat Turner wasn't the first one. Harriet Tubman wasn't near the first one. This was happening hundreds of years before that with the native Indians and Hispanics that y'all claim aren't Israelites. It says, on Christmas Day, December 25th, African and Indian slaves owned by Diego Columbus, Diego Colon, rose and murdered their masters and overseers. Nearby Native Americans joined the rebels, right? So we had natives that wasn't even in captivity that just joined these brothers just because they knew that they was fighting for their freedom. The beautiful island of Hispaniola shook with the first recorded slave rebellion in the New World. Ooh. Did y'all know that even for the Haitians, the so-called Southern Kingdom, when their first slave rebellion, they had to have the Arawak Indians help them? If it weren't for these Arawak Indians, there would be no slave rebellion of Levi or the so-called Haitians. This is the beginning of that in 1522 on the same island of Hispaniola with Arawak Indians and African slaves. In captivity, oppressed together, in the land of the North. What more proof do you need? What more proof can I give you? I don't have no more slides. So, that's it. I don't got no more slides. We finished. What more proof do you need? You see what I'm saying? Brother get a hug from his son because his son's like, yeah, it's a wrap. Ain't nothing else to get. That's it.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So y'all can ask any questions you got. The water out. Any questions you got about what we just brought up? Ruth is most definitely the water, babe. Ruth is most definitely uh not an Israelite, 110,000,000% a Moabite, because you can't buy a sister, right? The northern kingdom is most definitely the Israelites of Hispanic and Indian descent, because they're the only people whose spirits bear witness and whose plight bears witness with the same plight that's written down as a sign and a wonder for the Israelites through the curse of Deuteronomy 28. We showed emphatically with sources in books that you can go read that prove that these people were being sold on ships and taken to other various lands across the four corners of the earth. One time it actually mentioned the four corners of the earth. It said Papua New Guinea.
That's right.
Uruguay, Paraguay, whatever.
Yep. Portugal, all these.
Yeah, Spain, Portugal, and Africa. That's the four corners of the earth.
That's right.
It don't get no four corners in that. North America, South America, North Europe, Africa. Four corners. What more do you want? And half of you brothers didn't even know that the Northern Kingdom went into captivity. Y'all was only able to tell me one place that they went into captivity at. I didn't even show that place on this slide on purpose. I didn't even bring it up. It was so many other. This wasn't even all the slide. Hold on. I got to do something. I got to show y'all the video where y'all could go find this stuff at. Because I want y'all to go watch the brother's video. I didn't use half of his slides, right? He goes way more in depth with the information. The brother from Genesis 49ers. Let me do Salaki. My computer want to be slow right now. I'm trying to pull up this stuff.
They got some good breakdowns.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with this. What is this? Yeah, Genesis 49ers, he definitely got good breakdowns. He thorough breakdowns. That's his whole slogan.
Yeah, that's what he said.
They say no to vague interpretations and give thorough breakdowns. That's what they do. That's what the brother does. So I rock with the brother because of that fact. He gives thorough breakdowns, and I received a thorough breakdown when learning this information, and it helped a lot. And the thing is, it was like information that I had already did my research on, and I learned it. And when he did the video, it was like, yo, this is everything that I heard and learned. And then he put sources that I could actually go and do the research on. So
That's right.
now I'm not doing uh, biased research from an Edomite, right? Now I'm using research from one of my own brothers that
That's right.
actually did the research and read the books. And he put a presentation together for you guys to be able to see it. So I'm gonna post his YouTube video and his channel so you guys can go do that. Right? It's Genesis 49ers. Feel me? He got the 49ers red logo. You feel me? For those of you guys that don't know, Genesis 49ers, where we get the prophecies for the 12 tribes chart, this brother has a channel committed to proving the validity of our 12 tribes chart. He got 14 dislikes from the people who from the Old Testament or Negro only community. And the reason why is because they just simply can't validate none of the things that he said. You realize they didn't speak against it. He only got 37 comments. And the majority of the comments is like, yo, you did your thing. This was dope. Look, see, even the brothers from Sakari, you paying attention to what the brother puts out. Because he's got good information. He does the work. You know what I'm saying? All you have to do is be man enough to see if his sources are correct. Be man enough to find if there's any counter sources to the sources he brought out. And when you come to the conclusion that there is none, because there isn't, I already did the research. It took me a year to want to come out with this video on purpose. This video was made April 13, 2019. It's been a year. I could have came out with this information a long time ago. I didn't because I wanted to make sure all his sources were correct, and they are. Every slide I showed you guys, I already checked the sources. I already checked the counter doctrines and know that they can't be, they're undefeated. There's no counter doctrine to the things that this brother brought out in this video. It's an hour and 11 minutes long and 35 seconds. Go watch the video. Genesis 49ers, Native Indian slave trade, and commonality of Negroes and Indians. He got other videos on there too. He has a video before this one called Black Jews Sephardi or something like that. Sephardi history of Black Jews, proving to you that crackers stole their Sephardic ancestry from us. And he even talks about how the Northern Kingdom had a part in that as well. To go even more in depth that the Northern Kingdom is Israel. Because this brother, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is Issacharite with a Judite mother. So he sounds like a brother, but he's actually an Issacharite like in terms of his nationality. So he's doing the history research for himself and comes to the same conclusions that I've come to and many other brothers have come to. The whole One West came to. That the so-called Hispanics and Native Americans of Negroid and Indian descent are the 12 tribes, are part of the 12 tribes. And the people that descend from them scattered abroad because of this Atlantic slave trade are also part of the 12 tribes.
That's right.
So that's the information. You know what I'm saying? I got the video right here. Native Indian slave trade and commonality of Negroes and Indians. He did it like that because he's trying to show you guys we're the same people. So maybe you idiots will stop trying to separate us and actually band together as Zephaniah 2:1 commands us to do. So that's all I got, y'all. That's all I got. I ain't got nothing else to say. We have the Torah that shows us right is right and wrong, and we have the rest of the book that shows us how to conduct ourselves. The Torah is the law. The whole book is what we should follow. It's our culture and our heritage. This is the book with the law or of the law that was given to the congregations of the house of Jacob, as it says in Sirach. So we're supposed to follow the whole book, and we're going to follow the whole book, right? We've been showing you guys how we're doing the presentations. We already did the Old Testament Israelites to debunk that, right? Today we proved that Ruth is indeed a Moabite. You know what I'm saying? So with her being indeed a Moabite, you have to understand that this incest doctrine that, or this mamzer doctrine that you have, has to mean incest, baby, because by default, the great grandmother of King
King David.
David himself is a foreign woman, which is why he had the type of hair he had. It's written in the Bible that King David had goat hair. Why is it written in the Bible that he had goat hair? Because it's also written in the Bible that his great grandmother was a woman with goat hair. Would all the 12 tribes have woolly hair? No, because two of their mothers were handmaids with goat hair. Would they all be brown skinned? No. There's no description of Bila and Zilpah in the Bible, is there? As far as their skin tone? How do we know they weren't light skinned people?
That's right.
Hmm? How do we know they didn't have a little salt and pepper tone to them? You don't. So stop acting like you know. Stop judging people by their color and base it off the spirit. It's the spirit that bear witness that we're the children of God, not the skin color, not our hair texture, not how straight our teeth is, not how tall we are.
That's right.
It's the spirit that beareth witness. So that's all I got, man. Hopefully this information was edifying to y'all. Video was a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, but nevertheless, y'all got the knowledge. So watch it, share it, like it, subscribe, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or hate it. Don't matter. The knowledge is going to get out regardless, whether you like it, understand it, believe it or not, as our elder said. Preach about it.
That's right.
So, I am Brother All.
Brother Jonathan.
We are the sons of thunder Israelites, and it is our prayer and heart's desire for Israel that they might be saved. Shalom.
Shalom.